A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, the $4,800 Jane inherited came in handy. She lent it to Mr. Race so he could go into the real estate business with Mr. Neff. But to get the loan, Mr. Race had to make Jane a partner. He also privately had to promise Mr. Neff Jane would not meddle in the business. Now, to keep them apart. This episode is in two scenes. The Ace's bungalow, and then to the new real estate office. But first to the bungalow. It's morning, and we find Jane and her 18-year-old niece, Betty, alone. Listen.
Honestly, Betty, I can't make heads or shoulders of you. You came here in the first place to go to work for your uncle. And now that I'm giving you the job, you say you can't take it.
I can't just call up my boss and quit on a minute's notice.
Oh, why not?
Why not?
No, I asked you that.
Well, it's not ethical.
Well, I don't see what that... What?
I have to give him notice. I have my work to do. I can't just quit like this.
Oh, sure you can. Suppose you were sick.
Well, in that case, it would be different.
Well, call him up and say you're sick. Say you've got intentional flu or something.
Oh, Aunt Jane.
Oh, what is the matter with you, Betty? Don't you want to go to work for us?
Of course I do. But I ought to give my boss at least a week's notice. Besides, we're not sure Uncle Ace will take me.
Not sure he'll take you. I'm a partner in this business, Betty. It's my money. I'm just as equal as he is. A little more equal, if anything. If I hadn't given him the money, he wouldn't even be in business. Don't worry about that part. Now, you just go ahead and call up your boss and tell him you're not coming to work anymore. You got paid last night, didn't you?
Yes, but... Oh, Aunt Jane, I don't think it's...
Betty, remember, he who hesitates is last. We've got to hurry.
Yes, but you didn't say anything to Uncle Ace about me.
Well, you'll find out when I bring you. That's all there is to it. Now, go ahead and call up your... you want me to call?
Oh, no, I guess I better do it if it has to be done.
Well, all right. Go ahead. What are you waiting for? Honestly, you act like you're doing me a favor instead of you're doing me a favor. No, that's not right, is it? How did I say that now?
Oh, Aunt Jane, I know you're doing all this for me, and I appreciate it. I want nothing better than to go to work for Uncle Ace. Mother expected me to when I first came to town. We didn't know he wasn't in business anymore, but now this happened so suddenly,
Well, then, come on. Hurry up and call and finish dressing, and we'll go. I don't see why you even think twice. In the first place, we pay you more money, and in the second place, you don't have to work every night like you do where you're working now.
I understand all that, but if you'd only mentioned it to Uncle Ace, are you sure it's going to be all right with him?
Betty, didn't I tell you I'm a partner in the business and I have as much to say as anybody else? I told you that, didn't I?
Yes, but...
Well, do I have to talk myself hoarse in the face to make you understand? Now, stop this foolishness and call him up. Go ahead.
Well,
now, better. Now, hurry on.
I'm doing this against my better judgment.
Well, that's better. And when you're finished, hurry and get dressed. And let's get to work early. The late bird catches it, especially with your uncle. He doesn't like people to be impromptu.
Hello, let me speak to Mr. Thompson, please.
Just tell him you're quitting, that's all. Just ask him if he thinks it's fair for you to work so late every night. And don't take yes for an answer.
Hello, Mr. Thompson. This is Betty Taylor. I know this is a little sudden, but I'm going to have to quit my job.
Well, good morning, Mr. Neff. Come in.
Just dropped in to see that you're getting started, right?
Oh, yes. Just moved in this morning. I'm just putting away a few personal things.
Yes, the office looks pretty nice.
Yes, they did a fine job for so short a time. Of course, I'm going to have to get another chair for over there. Sit over here, Mr. Neff.
No, can't stay. I'm not going to be dropping in here very often. I'm leaving the actual running of the business to you. I've got so much other business on my hands.
Yes, I know you have, and you can rest assured I'll do my best here.
I know you will. Wouldn't have gone into this with you. I didn't think so.
Well, thanks.
As long as you don't have any interference. You know what I mean.
Oh, that, yes. Well, don't worry about her, Mr. Neff.
I'm not worrying about it. That's your worry.
Well, we don't have to worry about Mrs. A. She understands that she just lent me this money to get started, and as soon as things get going, I'll pay her back every cent.
Well, the sooner you do that, the more comfortable I'll feel.
Well, it won't take so long as soon as I get started going here. I've got to get a girl for the office here. I meant to call up the agency to have one sent over this morning.
That's what I came over about.
About what?
About the stenographer.
Well, what about...
Well, I've got a girl here I want you to put to work.
Oh, a girl.
She's the daughter of a friend of mine. I promised him I'd place her somewhere as soon as I found an opening.
Oh, fine. Is she a competent secretary?
He says she is. Went to business school. I brought her over.
Oh, is she out there? Fine.
Miss Ramsey. I'll let you talk to her.
Okay.
Come in, Miss Ramsey. This is Mr. Ace.
Pleased to know you.
Oh, how do you do?
Mr. Ace is going to hire you for the job.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Ace.
Well, have you had much experience, Miss Ramsey?
Well, no, not yet.
She's just got out of business school. Put her to work. She'll be all right.
Yes, of course, Mr. Neff. Do you want to start right now? Or?
Oh, yes, I can start at once.
Well, I guess you might as well. There won't be a lot to do until we get all our equipment in.
I noticed there's a typewriter in the outer office already.
Yes, I had that left over from my other office.
Well, I've got to get back. Oh, I got a nipple on a deal already.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, pretty good deal, too. Personal friend of mine has a farm to sell. Completely equipped and furnished.
Well, that sounds like a good start.
I'll call you up and give you the details. Say, what's the phone number here?
West 6511.
6511.
West, yes.
Yeah, West.
Yeah.
Well, I'll call you when I get back to the office.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neff.
Not at all. You just pay attention to business here.
Oh, I'll do my best.
So long, Mr. Neff.
I'll call you pretty soon.
Yes, do that. Well, Miss Ramsey, is it?
Yes, sir. Jane Ramsey.
Oh, Jane. Mm-hmm.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, nothing. Have you say you haven't had much experience?
Well, I've substituted for girls now and then. I haven't had a regular job yet.
Oh, I see. Well, it's sort of against my principle to hire a girl that hasn't had experience, but if Mr. Knapp says you're okay...
I'll do the best I can, Mr. Ace.
Yes, I understand that. It's just that, well, we'll see. I suppose you take dictation.
Yes, sir.
You don't sound very sure.
Oh, I've studied shorthand and everything. I may not be as fast at first as I should be.
Yeah, Jane Ramsey.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. I was just... Well, I guess you better take off your hat and coat. I think there's a clothes closet out there. Just to the right of your desk.
Yes, sir. I'll find it.
Oh, just a minute. I want to have all this stuff out of the way in that cabinet there. This is more or less personal stuff that I...
Why, good morning, dear.
Jane.
Come on in, Betty.
Betty.
Well, this is nice, dear. I like this office.
Well, that's mighty decent of you. What is the meaning of this?
Say hello to Betty.
Hello, Betty. What is the
Good
meaning...
morning, Uncle Ace.
What is... that'll be all right now, Miss Ramsey. Just take this stuff out on that desk there and sort it out.
Just a minute. Who's this?
This is Miss Ramsey. This is Mrs. A.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. A? Pleased to make your acquaintance. What is she doing here, dear?
She's working here.
Working?
Oh, and
just a minute now, Betty. Well, dear, she can't work here.
Why, Mrs. A?
Because Betty's going to work here.
Betty?
Oh, excuse me, Miss Ramsey. This is my niece, Miss Taylor.
How do you do, Miss Taylor?
This is Miss Ramsey, Betty.
I'm pleased to know you, Miss Ramsey.
Miss Ramsey used to work here, Betty. I'm sorry, Miss Ramsey,
Just a minute. What do you mean Miss Ramsey used to work here? She's working here now. She's going on working here.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, dear, but Betty's going to work here.
Betty is already working somewhere.
Oh, well, she quit that job this morning.
Quit? Betty, how could you quit your job without...
I told Aunt Jane to find out first if my job here was
Oh,
sure.
a fine mess you made of this, Jane.
I don't see any mess. Betty's going to work here, that's
But
all.
she can't work here. Mr. Neff sent over Miss Ramsey to work here. He asked me to give her a job. How can I give it to somebody else?
Well, just a minute now. I'm a partner here, too, you know.
But Mr. Neff sent this girl over.
Well, I'm sending this girl over. After all, she's my only sister's only girl, my own flesh and bone.
Oh, Aunt Jane.
Hush, Betty. You're going to work here.
But, Jane, this girl's already hired.
Yeah, she won't mind. She understands, don't you, Miss Ramsey?
Mr. Neff got me this job.
Of course he did.
Well, I'm getting it for my niece.
Well, I think Mr. Neff has more to say about who works here than you have.
Oh, yes?
Well, I think so. I'll ask him if he thinks you have more
Oh,
to say
no, now, wait just a minute, Miss Ramsey. I wouldn't do that. You won't have to.
Well, I will if I get fired.
Well, nobody's going to fire you.
I am.
Now, look, Jane.
I knew I shouldn't have quit my job. And I know that I won't quit this one.
No.
Oh, no?
I'll go straight to Mr. Neff and I'll tell him
No, wait, Miss Ramsey. I didn't fire you.
Well, Mrs. A seems to think that she's the boss.
Well,
I'm a partner here, and if my niece can't have a job here, then my name's Maud.
Okay, Maud. Now you go on home.
Just a minute.
Come on, Aunt Jane.
Now, you wait, Betty.
You take her home, Betty.
She will not. You take Miss Ramsey home.
Take Miss Ramsey home.
He's not taking me home.
Oh, I suppose he's not good enough for
I
you.
didn't
Well,
say
would
that
you two please keep... What are you doing here? I just moved in here. Do you want me thrown out of here for raising a rough house? Answer that phone, Miss Ramsey.
You answer it, Betty.
Oh, Aunt Jane.
Miss Ramsey, answer that phone.
Miss Taylor, answer that. Oh, don't let her answer it.
I'll take it, Mr. Ace. Hello?
Let me talk to Mr. Ace.
The idea of you two coming in here.
I didn't want to, Uncle Ace. It's for you, Mr. Ace.
For me, ask who it is.
She doesn't even know enough to ask that.
Who's speaking, please?
Who's speaking, please?
Mr. Neff.
Will you please be...
Who?
Who?
Mr. Neff. Neff.
Who is it, Miss Ramsey?
I can't quite get the name. There's so much noise. Will you spell it, please?
Put Mr. Ace on the phone.
Will you please spell the name?
N-E-double-F.
M-E-double-S?
Miss, I don't know anybody by that
No,
name.
E-double-F.
Will you please spell it again? Is the first letter M?
No, N. N as in numbskull.
N as in numbskull.
E-double-F.
E.
Mr. Neff, give me that phone.
Well, there was so much noise going on.
Hello, Mr. Neff.
Fire that girl.
What?
Fire her. I won't have her around. Get rid of her.
You mean you want me to fire Miss Ramsey?
Well, finally.
I can't talk now. I'll call you back later.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Ramsey. That's orders from Mr. Neff to fire you.
The idea. Wait till I tell my father about this.
Well, that's what he said, Miss Ramsey.
I wouldn't work here anyhow. I never saw such a madhouse.
Well, it's no fault of mine.
Goodbye.
Well, Betty, take off your hat and coat.
Now, just a second. I just got rid of one incompetent girl. I'm not going to hire another one until I find out just how good she is.
Well, Betty's very good.
I'll find out.
What do you want to know, Uncle Ace?
Well, I don't know what kind of work you do.
Well, she does everything, don't you,
Oh.
Betty?
Please let Uncle Ace interview me, Aunt Jane.
Yes, let me. I know that you can use a typewriter.
Oh, sure.
Please, Aunt Jane. Yes, I can, Uncle Ace.
Yes. Now, how do you stand on dictation?
Dictation? Oh, the good old USA government is good enough for her, isn't it, Betty?
The what?
Aunt Jane, please let me answer the
isn't
question.
that?
Looks as if Jane has won her first round as partner in the new real estate firm of Ace, Neff, and Mrs. Ace. We learn more about her activity in the business when next we meet the...
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. In the past 2 months, a thief has broken into 18 markets. There's no lead to his whereabouts, no clue to his identity. Your job? Get him. Friends, stage and screen star Paul Douglas is featured on the Chesterfield Poster of the Month that's up all over town. Here's what Paul Douglas says about Chesterfields. Quote, I've been smoking Chesterfield for 22 years. They're best for me. If you try them, you'll find they're best for you. Unquote. You know why Chesterfields are best for you? Because they're low in nicotine, highest in quality. And, of course, Chesterfields are really mild, really satisfying. Try them yourself today. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, December 14th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out of the office, and it was 8:05 a.m. when we got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Sergeant Lindsay Simmons' office.
Yeah? Well, did you give it to him? Uh-huh. Yeah. What'd he say? Yeah. When did he come back? Uh-huh. Well, did he have it for you? Yeah. Well, that'll teach you not to go that route anymore. All right, Patrick, tell the sergeant to call me when he gets back. Right. Oh, hi, Friday Smith.
Oh, hi, Lindsay.
Morning, Sergeant.
Just talking to Gene Patrick over at Highland Park. You know him?
Yeah, I met him a couple of times.
Picked up a youngster a couple of days ago on suspicion of burglary. Brought him into the office, and Patrick talked to him.
Yeah.
Well, he finally bought it that the kid didn't have anything to do with it. That's he told him to go home.
Uh-huh.
Kid told Gene he didn't have the money to get home, so Gene gave him 20 cents. Kid swore he'd come in and pay it back.
Did he?
Yeah, he came in this morning, gave Patrick 2 dimes. Told him thanks for believing the story.
Mm-hmm.
Then Patrick got the kicker. Kid really did break into a house last night to get the money.
Well, what's Patrick got to say about that?
Says the kid's honest in a sort of way. He did pay him back.
Well, where's the youngster now?
Got him over Highland Park Juvenile.
I better call Gene. Maybe I can give him a hand. I got a couple of streetcar tokens I won't be using. Might like to have them. Huh?
Oh, hold it. If I was you, I don't think I'd bring it up to him for a couple of days. Well, what can I do for you two?
Well, Lindsay, we've been working on a string of burglaries. You maybe got the word on them.
I don't think so. What's the story?
Bunch of store burglaries. Papers that tagged them the milk bottle jobs.
Oh, yeah. It seems Hartgrove was telling me something about them the other day. Where do we come in?
Well, the way the jobs look, we've been thinking that maybe they belong in your department instead of ours.
How do you figure that?
First off, the milk thing.
What do you mean?
Every job he's pulled, we found an empty milk bottle on the counter.
Okay, what's that prove?
Well, milk and kids go together.
Sure, so do milk and ulcers. Maybe a thief's got the bull horrors when he gets into the store.
No, Lindsay, there's another thing. The way he prowls the places. All he takes is petty cash. Just a couple of bucks outside. Candy, cigarettes, nothing big. Some of the places he's gone into, you could open the safe with a pocket knife, and he hasn't even made a move toward him.
Maybe he's a kleptomaniac. Got a lot of them on the books. Maybe that's the way he gets his kicks.
Oh, it's a nice try, Lindsay. If you know anybody that can climb through a 14-by-10-inch hole, you trot him up and we'll talk to him.
Okay, I haven't got the names on my desk, but you take a trip to Santa Anita, you'll meet a lot of them. Jockeys. You guys know we'll go along with you on this thing, anything we can do, but until we're sure that there's a juvenile involved, there's nothing we can do. Anything turns up, we'll be sure to turn it over to you.
Well, look, we're not trying to palm this thing off on you, Lindsay. We've had the stats office make so many runs on small adults that the cards are wearing out. It just seems that none of the leads we've been chasing come out anywhere. We figured that maybe you could come up with some answers for us.
Well, it's a new one on me, Joe, this milk bet. I've heard of a couple of thieves that went for it, but I can't name you a juvenile offhand. I'll pass the word around the day watch, see what they can come up with. I'll leave a note for Hartgrove. He can pass it on the night watch.
Well, appreciate anything you can do.
No trouble. Been running you ragged on this, huh?
It's pretty rough. It's just that we can't seem to be able to come up with anything that adds.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Georgia Street Juvenile, Sergeant Simmons. Yeah. Yeah, they're here. Which one? Okay, hang on. For you, Joe, your office.
Thank you. Friday coming. Yeah. Right away. What's the address? Yeah. No, I got it. We'll leave right away. Who? Yeah, call him. Thanks. Well, come on, let's go. The milk bottle kid, he hit again. The call had come from Lieutenant Ginder in burglary. He told us that he'd just gotten a call from a storekeeper named Monty Darabertis. The man had called to report a burglary at his store at the corner of Jackson and Broadway Streets. Lieutenant Ginder told us that the crime lab had been notified and had dispatched a crew to investigate the premises for physical evidence. Frank and I left Georgia Street Juvenile, and we drove over to Figueroa. Then we turned over onto Broadway. The store that had been broken into was a small Italian delicatessen on the southeast corner. By the time we got there, the crime lab crew had already arrived and was winding up their investigation. We walked into the place, and we met with Ray Pinker.
Hi, Joe. Frank.
Ray.
Hi, Ray.
How's it going?
Usual thing. Bottle of milk on the counter. You want to check it over?
Yeah.
Come on back here. Thief made his entrance back here at the rear of the store. There it is. Broke out the window pane.
Yeah, not very big, huh?
It measures 9.5 by 12 3/4.
Huh. No alarm on the window, huh?
Yeah, you can see the wires here. Take a look.
Oh, yeah. How come the alarm didn't go off?
I talked to the owner. He said he's had trouble with the alarm system the last couple of weeks. Called the company and asked them to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was okay. Guess there's something wrong someplace. Didn't work last night.
What kind of alarm was it, Ray?
Outside on the building. You know the kind.
Yeah.
What did he take this time, Ray?
Usual run of stuff. According to the owner, there are about 4 cartons of cigarettes missing, several boxes of candy. Can't be absolutely sure. So he's got to check his stock. Be better if you talk to him on that.
Yeah, we will. We'll catch him later.
Want to wait a minute? I'll check and see how the boys are doing on the prints. Have them check the counter and the milk bottle.
Fine, thanks, Ray.
Be right back.
Right.
I don't wonder when we're going to blow the whistle on this guy.
I don't know. Can't do it fast enough for me.
Well, I'm with you.
Hey, Joe. Look at this. Yeah, I'd like to get a couple of those before we leave.
What are you talking about?
Salami, Joe. Those right there, the hard Italian kind. See, right there?
Yeah.
I remember last summer I was up in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember.
Went up there to pick up a prisoner. Remember you were collecting days off?
Yeah, I recall. I had 100 of them coming.
Yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, I met Dan Shelley up there.
You mean the Irish tenor?
Yeah, he and I went down to Cookie's bar for lunch. Cookie had some of this salami. Sliced it like paper. You could almost read through it.
Oh, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I know, Joe. Anyway, Cookie sliced up a bunch of it, served it with cold cracked crab. Boy, I never tasted anything so good in my life.
Yeah, don't you ever read the newspaper through sliced salami?
Yeah? Well, I never have. Have you?
All the time.
Just the funnies. Well, anyway, Faye's tried to find them for me. Salami like this. Brought home all kind of things, but she's never found the right kind. You know, they'd be hard enough to pound tacks with them. She got them home. Boy, never forget old Cookie and that spread.
Well, if you can get your mind off food for a minute, and I know that'll be tough, let's get on with this thing, Joe.
Yeah. Sure got to buy some of these before we leave. Just like Cookie had.
Yeah.
Just finished with powder, Joe.
Yeah.
Nothing. Whoever it was drank the milk. He took the bottle out of the refrigeration compartment. Bottle sweated, and there isn't a print on it we can lift.
Oh, that's too bad. None of them any place, huh?
Yeah, we've gone over the place from top to bottom. Till there, we can't find them.
Well, that's not much help, is it?
Came up with one thing. Maybe you can make something out of it.
What's that?
Outside the window in the back parking lot. Came up with an open package of cigarettes. Don't know if it belonged to the thief.
Anything on it?
No. Fog last night ruined any prints that were on it. Boys have got it if you want it.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at it. Looks like everything's against us, huh? Another blank.
Don't envy you guys trying to break this one. Most of the time there's a leak someplace. Somewhere along the line the guy's going to make a mistake and not cover something.
Yeah, we've been saying that for weeks.
This is either the smartest thief I've ever seen or the luckiest. What's this make for him?
Number 19.
A lot of chances to take for nothing. He's not getting anything out of the jobs.
Maybe he isn't, but we are.
What?
Headaches. 9:38 a.m. We talked to the victim. He told us that as near as he could figure, there was approximately $4 stolen from the store. He went on to say that he'd ascertained that 5 cartons of cigarettes and several boxes of candy bars were taken. He was unable to tell us if any other merchandise was taken until he'd made a complete inventory. He went on to tell us that there was over $600 in the safe, but that as far as he could tell, there'd been no attempt to break into it. We made a canvass of the neighborhood and talked with the neighbors. None of them recalled having seen any suspicious people in the neighborhood the night before. None of them had seen any suspicious automobiles in the area. The one thing that was apparent was that the thief was working in a definite pattern. He worked only on Friday and Saturday nights, always between 8 p.m. and 12 midnight. Frank and I met with Captain Bernard, and it was decided that we would maintain a rolling stakeout in the area in which the suspect operated. 4 other cars from Metro Reserves were assigned to work with us. For the next 5 nights, we worked without results. It was slow and tedious, but considering the lack of information on the thief, it was the only way we had left. We had to be on or near the scene when the thief struck again. Saturday night, December 19th, Frank and I met and drove out to the area. The streets were crowded with early Christmas shoppers.
I'll sure be glad when it's over.
Why? What's the matter?
How many rooms in your apartment, Joe?
3. You know that. You've been there.
Yeah. No, there won't be enough room.
What are you talking about?
Faye?
What's Faye got to do with this?
Hack, Joe. Real hack.
Why? What's the matter?
I got up this morning. I felt great. Faye's got breakfast on the table. All nice. A couple of eggs, little pig sausages. Nice, you know.
Yeah.
I come down to the table. She's got the food on, and I hit her with it.
What, the food?
No, Joe. I hit her with what I'm about to tell her. I tell her I'm going to have to work tonight.
Mm-hmm. You've worked every night this week. What's wrong with that?
Well, that's the way I figure it, so I got a way out.
You have, huh?
Mm-hmm. Today is Faye's birthday.
Well, you didn't tell me.
It's not good to tell people, Joe.
Oh, it isn't?
No. Faye's over 30.
Yeah. I kind of figured that.
Don't you get it?
I'm sorry, pal. You left me a couple of blocks back on this one.
Look, Faye...
I may never catch up.
Faye's over 30, Joe. She's getting to the point where she's taken off years, see? How can you give a person a last birthday present?
Yeah.
I tell you about it. You're going to give her a present. Only now instead of 30, she's 29. You understand?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, no. But as long as you do, it's perfectly all right with me.
Yeah.
What about this morning?
Well, I told her I was going to have to go to work. I got this present for her. Brand new deep fat fryer. Real good.
What?
All wrapped up. Deep fat fryer. All wrapped up with ribbon. Beautiful. Shiny. Beautiful.
So you gave it to her. Did it do any good?
Not a pound. You know what she does with it?
Well, at this point, I wouldn't even want to guess.
I'm serious, Joe. This may mean the end of my home.
Go ahead.
She doesn't even open it. Just puts it in the closet on the back porch. Doesn't even pull the paper apart to peek at what's in it. Real mad, Joe. She may not let me back in the house tonight.
Well, you can apologize when you get home.
I don't know, Joe. Faye's pretty sore. Didn't even open the present. Not even a peek, huh?
Listen.
Yeah. Tell where it's coming from?
Yeah, sounds like up on 7th. Come on. Yeah, right here. Pull up.
Come on. I'll take the front.
All right.
Hey, hold it up there. Police officer, stop or I'll shoot. Frank, he's coming around your way. Okay. Take it easy.
Go ahead and shoot. Come on and kill me. Go ahead and shoot me. It doesn't matter anymore. Go
Everything
on.
all right?
Yeah. Just a kid, Joe.
Yeah, I see.
What are you doing in the store, son?
What do you think I'm doing?
He asked you a question, son.
Pretty stupid. What do you think I was doing?
How many stores you broken into, son?
Figure it out for yourself.
Look, what do you got a chip on your shoulder
You're
for?
big guys. Don't give me a lot of conversation. Do what you want to do.
All right, boy, you called it. Come on. 11:50 p.m. We called the office and told them that we had a subject in custody and that we were taking him to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. We put the boy in our car and we waited until a radio car arrived. We asked the officers to notify the owner of the store and stand by until he got there. We also asked that they make a 459 report. 11:55 p.m. We started to take the youngster to the juvenile bureau. What's your name, son?
What difference does it make?
Acting like that isn't going to help you.
You guys picked me up, remember? You worry about it. I got nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, yes, you have, boy. You could have been shot back there.
Maybe you should have pulled the trigger.
Look, son, what's the matter with you? Why are you acting like this? You just got real lucky back there. That's the only reason you're alive now. It was dark in there. As far as I could tell, you were an adult. You didn't stop when I told you to. Now, according to the book, I could have shot you. You know that, don't you?
Killing a kid. That'd make you a big man.
No, I'm just bringing it up to prove a point.
Say it.
Now, look, son. I'm going to tell you something. When you break into a place at night, you're not a kid anymore. You're asking for trouble. You got both your pockets full of it. The way you work tonight makes us think you're mixed up in a lot more thefts than just tonight.
That right?
You ever been arrested before?
No.
Never been in trouble with the law, huh?
Sure. I'm a real criminal. I got a ticket once for riding my bike through a boulevard stop. Radio car stopped me and tagged me. Big deal. But they're going to send me to San Quentin. Maybe you can give me the gas chamber.
How old are you?
What difference does that make?
How old are you?
You figure.
All right, you look like you're about 11 to me.
That's what everybody thinks. I'll be 15 my next birthday.
Don't kid us, son.
It's the truth, 15. That's what I'll be, 15.
When were you born?
1939, November 2nd.
You're small for your age, aren't you?
Why do you say that?
Aren't you?
It's got nothing to do with it, nothing at all. I can do anything any other kid can do. Anything. Don't you forget that.
What's the matter with you? Is that a sore point with you?
Huh?
Your size, is that a sore point?
There's nothing wrong with my size. Doctor says that I'm all right. Just that some people aren't meant to be as big as others, that's all. There's nothing wrong with me.
No, come on, son. What's your name? Now, look, you know we're going to find out.
How are you going to find out?
We will. Now, why don't you save us all a lot of time and tell us the truth here?
Be better if you did.
If I do tell you. You going to put it in the papers?
What?
I tell you, there are going to be a lot of reporters around. My name going to get in the papers?
Not from us.
Can't tell you then.
You mean if there's no reporters around, you aren't going to tell us your name? Is that it?
That's the way it is.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Maybe that's the way it looks to you.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that either.
But you got things all wrong, son. It isn't what you want to tell us. That's got nothing to do with this. You're going to tell us what we want to know sooner or later.
Where are we going?
Georgia Street.
That's where the jail is.
Why do you ask that?
Because I want to know.
Yeah, there's a jail there.
Reporters?
What?
They're going to be reporters there.
What is this thing with reporters and you? What's this all about?
Reporters put your name in the papers, don't they?
Sometimes.
Well, you get the reporters all lined up. You get them from all the papers. You have them there, and I'll tell you all about it, the whole story. You just get the reporters and the photographers. Be sure about them, because I want some pictures, too.
Well, look, let me get this straight.
What?
You say you aren't going to give us any information without the press being there. Is that right?
That's the way it's going to be.
No, you got it wrong, boy.
What?
Doesn't make any difference who's there. You're going to come around.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield because they're learning the facts about Chesterfield. Facts like these.
A doctor has been examining Chesterfield smokers for 20 months, almost 2 full years now. We've just received his latest report, and it confirms again no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's a matter of record. And so is this. Chesterfield is the only cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine. Those are the facts about Chesterfield. More good reasons why Chesterfields taste so good, smoke so much milder. How about it, friends? Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
A.m. We got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Frank pulled the car into the side alley, and we took the subject out of the back seat.
Up this way, son.
It's a seedy-looking place.
Yeah, well, it's been here a long time.
Looks like a set out of a picture.
And don't you worry about it, huh? You want to take him down the hall, Frank? I'll check with Hargrove.
Yeah. Come on, boy.
Hi, Friday. Working kind of late, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
I got the note from Simmons on the milk burglaries. Checked around the night watch. Nothing on it, so I didn't call you.
I don't think you have to worry about it. I think we got the answer.
Yeah?
We just picked up a kid. We got him dead to rights in the market. Open bottle of milk right next to the cash register.
Where is he now?
Frank's got him down the hall.
You think he's your boy?
Yeah, looks like it. Everything adds up. The entrance, what he tried to take, the milk. All along seems to fit.
You got that kind of a case, what are you worrying about?
There's two things.
Yeah?
Who he is and why he did it.
He won't tell you?
No. He's got some big thing working about the press. Says he won't give us anything without reporters being there.
Makes it rough, Joe. You know the policy.
Yeah, I do. He won't let us help him.
If he wants publicity, take me down. Introduce me as a reporter.
Well, that might do it.
Won't do any harm to try. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Who am I going to be?
Well, tell him you're Sid Hughes from the Mirror, huh?
Yeah, might as well be one of the good ones.
Son, you wanted to talk to somebody from the papers. It's against the policy, but we swung it for you. This is Sid Hughes from the Mirror.
Hi.
You the fellow that held that guy on the phone in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Great. I read all about it. You gonna write me up like that?
I hope not, son. There were 2 men killed in that operation.
I read all the stories. Everybody did. That's how I mean for you to write me up, with a picture.
What makes you think you got it coming? You break into one store and try to steal a couple of cartons of cigarettes, that doesn't make the first page.
One store? I got into 19 of them. 19 before they caught me. That's important, isn't it? That's a story.
I don't know, might be.
A couple of things we better get straightened out here. First off, what's your name?
Better get your notebook out. Be able to take all this down.
Don't worry about it, son. You just answer the questions. I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. My name's Elroy Graham. That's ELROYGRAHAM.
Yeah. How old are you?
I told you once, almost 15.
You said you'd broken into 19 stores. Is that right?
Yeah, 19. Might have made it more, but something went wrong tonight. Had trouble with the burglar alarm. Thought I'd turned it off. Bad mistake. Be still working if it wasn't for that. Guess it only takes one, though, huh, Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, I guess so.
You want to tell us why you did it?
What?
You had to have a reason for committing these robberies. You want to tell us what it was?
Sure. Good reason. Real good.
All right, tell us.
Well, you see, I always had trouble at school. Never seemed to quite make it. All the guys liked me. They all did. All the girls do, too. Got girls calling me almost every night asking me to take them to dances, stuff like that. I don't go much for stuff like that. You can understand, can't you, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead, Elroy.
Well, they wanted me for all the teams, football, basketball. All the time asking me to play. But I figure if you want to get ahead in the world, you got to have an aim. Someplace where you want to get. Figure out that. Work for it and you're going to get there. Don't you find that true, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead.
That's the way it was with me. All the time turned down offers to be on some team. Telling some girl that I couldn't take her to a dance. Just didn't have the time. Somehow I just couldn't make it. You can understand it. You've been around. You know all the successful kind of people. You write something and a lot of people read it. You know what I mean. Don't you? Well, what's the matter? Something wrong? I'm trying to tell you what happened. I'm giving it to you straight. What's the matter?
Now you want to tell us the truth, Elroy.
What?
I don't know why you're trying to sell us this line, boy. It isn't necessary. I don't know why you did what you did, but I do know you had a reason for it. Now, that's all we want to know, just the reason.
You don't believe me?
Afraid not.
How about you?
No, son, I don't.
Mr. Hughes?
No.
Can't even lie right. Can't even tell a lie good. All my life I've been trying to be like other kids. All the time getting beat up, getting left out of things. You know why? Do you know?
Go ahead, son.
Big reason. Biggest reason in the world. Because I'm almost 15 years old. I'm 4 feet 7 inches tall. 4 feet 7. Weight 97 pounds. That ain't very big, not big enough. All the time, other kids shoving you around. All the time you're the joke. Gets to the time when you figure it's easy to laugh, too. Because if you don't, some kid's going to beat you up. Gets to the point where you don't care anymore. I used to clip out those coupons and send them in. Get the books back on how to build myself up. Worked at it. Didn't do nothing for me. I was still 4 feet 7 and weighed 97 pounds. All the stuff I took didn't do no good. Still came out 4 feet 7, 97 pounds.
All right, son. Do you want to tell us about the burglaries?
I did it to be big, that's why. I had the things other people wanted, cigarettes, candy, the other things kids wanted. I had all that stuff that the other kids wanted. Made me important. Don't you see that? You gotta understand it, Mr. Hughes. That's why I wanted my picture in the paper. That's why I wanted the story. So the kids would know that I'd done something big. so they know.
All right, son. It's going to be all right here.
No, it isn't. Like everything else I tried to do, I loused it up. I didn't mean to steal, but it was the only thing to do. The only way I had.
Now, wasn't there some other?
No, there wasn't. All the time the other kids laughing. All the time talking. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I just couldn't.
Here you go.
Thanks. You can understand it, can't you? It makes sense.
What's that, son?
Wasn't so much the kids saying I was little.
Yeah.
But I didn't want them to think I was small.
"12:36 a.m. We contacted the parents of the Graham boy and asked them to come down to the station. We talked to them for an hour and tried to fill them in. In view of the fact that the parents of the subject were responsible persons, the boy was booked for violation of Section 459 PC, delinquent, and he was released to his parents pending his hearing in juvenile court. 5 days passed, and we heard nothing from the boy. On December 24th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Friday?
Yeah, Earl.
Kid in the back wants to see you and Smith.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Friday.
Oh, hello, Elroy. What can we do for you?
Well, I guess you think it's kind of funny.
What's that?
I want to tell you that I sure think it's good what you did for me. Helped me with that burglary thing the other night.
Well, it isn't over yet, son. The court still has to make a decision on it.
Yeah. But what you did to make me feel better. As far as I'm concerned, whatever the judge decides, I'll go along with it. I had a long talk with my folks. So we got it all talked out. All the way talked out.
Well, that's good, son.
We're glad of it, son.
Maybe you guys won't like it. I mean, me knowing you such a short time and all. But I wanted to bring you these. Merry Christmas.
Well, that's awful nice of you, Elroy, but it isn't necessary.
I want to give them to you anyway. For what you did for me.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, all right. Sure appreciate it.
A couple of packages of cigarettes. Hope they're the kind you smoke.
Yeah, son, they'll be fine.
Thanks, son.
Well, see you guys around, huh?
Yeah, sure, son.
Just one more thing, Sergeant.
Yeah, son?
Just thought you'd like to know.
Yeah, what's that?
I didn't steal those.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On the 21st of December, a petition was filed in juvenile court on behalf of the subject. On January 26th, trial was held in Department 52 of Juvenile Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, Thanksgiving is traditionally a time when families and friends get together. And I'd like to make this suggestion. Tomorrow, get a couple of cartons of Chesterfields. You'll be all set for Thanksgiving and the weekend. We know you, your family, and guests are sure to enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield, regular and king size. Best for you.
Elroy Merton Graham appeared before the juvenile court where he admitted the alleged burglaries. At this time, under the counsel of the judge of the juvenile court, the subject was placed under the care of the probation department for a period of 3 years, with the provision that his parents take him to a competent psychiatrist.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget your letter carrier when he makes a special trip to call on you for muscular dystrophy. Reach in your pocket. Give for muscular dystrophy.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Olin Soule, Sammy Ogg. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspaper for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork tip Fatima? It's the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Fatima is made and guaranteed by Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company. Try Fatima today.
Hear Merrill Muller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's about the only way to make a living down on the waterfront in San Francisco. Because around here, a set of morals won't cause any more stir than Mother's Day in an orphanage. Maybe that's not good, but that's the way it is. And it wouldn't do any good to build a church down here, because some guy'd muscle in and start cutting the wine with wood alcohol. All you can do is try to make the books balance, and the easiest way to do that is keep one hand on your billfold and the other hand on somebody else's. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else that'll buy a warm winter. It works out all right. It saves the government a lot of money. But if anything goes wrong, your trouble comes hard. It doesn't do any good to sing the blues, because down here, you're just another guy in the chorus. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. It started to rain up by Pier 19, and I knew there was a storm on the way. The bay looked flat and smoothed over, but you can say that for a lot of quarrels. So I closed the office and walked down to the barber shop for a shave. The barber lathered me up so I couldn't answer back and started to tell me how Dean Atchison ought to handle things. About 5 minutes later, somebody walked into the shop and started tapping my foot. He got tired of that and moved up to my chest.
Hey, you listening?
Hey, stop pushing. That's my chest, not a buzzer.
Are you listening?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Hey, I want to talk to you alone.
He's a barber. He won't listen.
Let's go alone.
All right, let's go. I'll be back in a minute.
How do you like it? I got a 14 costume white. He says...
I want to hire you tonight. Will you do something for me?
Not for friendship.
I give you $200 to follow a woman.
I've done it for less.
Not this kind. Her name is Agnes Bolton. You'll find her at 7 o'clock tonight down at this bowling alley. Here's the card.
Mm-hmm.
Address is there.
How do I spot her? Read it off an ankle bracelet?
You won't have any trouble. She's a large woman, about 50 years old, with a reddish face.
Oh, that's no help. For 50, she sounds normal.
Not Agnes. She couldn't pass for 90. She'll be playing in the last alley with a women's team called the Playmores.
Yeah?
You'll follow her out of the bowling alley. Somewhere along the line, she'll pick up a green leather bag. After that, I need your help.
It doesn't sound like love.
She'll go to the yacht harbor, get aboard a boat called Seventh Heaven. I want you to have your boat ready and follow her into the bay. She'll leave that bag aboard some ship. I want to know the name of it.
Now, is that $200 worth?
Yes. I'll wait for you in your office. Contact me there and be careful.
Is she that tough?
No, but her friends are.
With a figure like that, how come she's got any?
They're holdovers. Now, just be careful.
Yeah, well, it sounds easy at these prices.
That depends on your luck, Mr. Novak. If it turns bad, you've been cheating.
He stood at the door for a minute, and his eyes swept the shop like a $10 broom. And then he turned around and walked off. Well, you couldn't tell anything from his face, and his smile was as smooth as a pound of liver in a bucket of glycerin. Well, after I finished, I went down to Pier 19, and I took the boat up to the yacht harbor. I tied up near the Seventh Heaven, and I started downtown to that bowling alley. It was ladies' night, and I stood against the back rail and watched the women bowl. Most of them were wearing slacks, and if I ever get a few bucks ahead, I know the right business. At least the demand is there. About 10 minutes after I got there, Agnes Bolton showed up, and I knew right away Max Hunter overrated her. She was at least 50, because you can't get that ugly without years of practice. She was wearing a green woolen dress, and her figure wasn't any worse than a bale of cotton somebody's cut the wire on. The fat hung down from her arms, and there was so much of it you knew even her bones were plump. And Max was right about her complexion. It was red and scratchy as if she used a bag of sand for cold cream. Well, I must have stood there about 10 minutes watching him bowl when the other girl came up. I didn't see her, but I felt her as she brushed up against me from behind. She leaned on the railing close to me, and when she started to talk, it was like grafting a hot iron onto your spine.
You look sad, Mr. Novak. Is it the view?
What are you, the repair squad?
No. I want you to do me a favor.
You do me one. Slide over. I bruise easy.
Oh?
Now, what's on your mind?
I want you to do me a favor. Don't follow Agnes Bolton.
You're pretty, but I got Max Hunter's dough.
I'll help you spend it. Don't let Agnes Bolton get to that boat.
Look, Angel, go warm up an armory. I got a deal.
Suppose I tell Agnes Bolton you're going to follow her.
You tell her first without tagging by here. Now, if you got something on your mind, lay it on the line or relax.
I want her worse than Max Hunter does. When she gets that green bag, I want you to bring her to me.
I couldn't move her that far. You better rent a derrick.
Please, Mr. Novak. It's important to me. I want to talk to Agnes Bolton. I can give you more money than Max Hunter.
You haven't got enough to cover, lady. You're talking about kidnapping, and that's a federal rap. The answer's no.
You're sure?
Unless you want to change the offer.
I hope you make it, darling.
I may.
Don't bet your $200. It's bad to die broke.
Is anybody that tough?
Now it's my turn to brush you off. Go ahead and follow her, Mr. Novak. But I'll bet you have to roll her the last couple of miles. And unless you can prove it's an election bet, the police will cause you trouble.
Well, I watched her as she turned her back and walked out of there. She looked real good. She was wearing a tight jersey dress that gave you the idea she either thought the weather was warm or she wasn't much on details. Well, I turned around and looked for Agnes Bolton. The game was breaking up, and she started into the dressing room. A few minutes later, she came out and started down Market Street. There was no trouble following her. You could see her in the crowd. And she rolled from side to side as she walked, and when she bumped into anybody, they looked back at her as if they'd been hit in the chest with a sack of jelly. She crossed the street at Stockton and went into a little coin shop. She came out about 5 minutes later with a green leather bag. She strapped it over her shoulder, and she held onto her purse with the other hand. At Powell Street, she got on the cable car up near the front. I moved up there to be safe. She looked heavy enough to tip a cable car uphill. In that light, she didn't look any better. Part of her hair had come undone and hung down in her face like the branches on a dead tree. I noticed her eyes for the first time. They were small and so close together they could have saved time and put them in one socket. Well, she got off the cable car at Geary and walked into a hotel. I followed her and watched her squeeze into a telephone booth on the other side of the lobby. The way she fit, a sardine ought to be happy. She took some money out of her purse and started to dial. A couple of people moved in front of her, and I didn't get a look at her for about 5 minutes. And when they moved away, she was still talking to somebody. I looked up about 10 minutes later, and I knew something was wrong. Her head was pressed against the phone. She'd run out of conversation. I walked across the lobby and opened the door to get to the phone booth. She fell out as old as she'd ever get. There, hey, help me get her over to the couch, will you?
Yes, sir. Was she your wife?
Well, if she was, this is the way I'd want her.
Her purse is spilled all over the floor. Sure is a mess.
Yeah.
She's some relative, huh?
Look, mister, stop trying to pair us up. I was around when she tumbled out, that's all.
Yeah. What'd she die from?
I don't know.
I just figured you might know what she died from.
No, I don't.
It's a simple question to answer when you know what she died from.
All right, let me through here. Come on. All right, stand back. Give her air.
She can't use anymore, Copper.
Huh?
She quit about 5 minutes ago.
Who are you?
I'm not dead. She is.
Then who's she?
You better check on her stuff, and don't forget that green bag.
Yeah. What bag?
The green bag over there on the floor. Well, it was over there a minute ago.
The same one the little guy had?
What little guy?
The one who was talking to you. He just walked out of here carrying a green bag.
Oh, I got out on the street, and the little man had just crossed Geary. He turned and looked back once, and I saw him melt into the crowd and disappear quick like the wake of a ship on a dark night. When I came back to the lobby, the copper was over by the couch making noises in his throat as if he was trying to eat a pound of cellophane. The manager of the hotel was wringing his hands and making little steps like a ballet dancer with a hot foot. The copper took my name and put in a call to homicide, and a few minutes later, I got into that phone booth. There was a number on the pad, and I took it down. It was Greystone 42961. Well, it didn't prove much, but Agnes Bolton wasn't out to prove much tonight. I began going through the phone book, but there was no Max Hunter listed, and when I called the office, nobody answered. I knew there was as much chance of him showing up as a second piece of butter on a 50-cent lunch. I ran down that Greystone number and found out it was an address out on Post Street. I walked through the lobby and out the side door. Some of the people were out of the dining room, and they looked mad because Agnes Bolton had died during the roast beef instead of later. Well, I walked down Geary to the Union Square garage and gave the guy my ticket. He started down the ramp for the car, and I stood there waiting. I must have looked lonely, because Hellman from Homicide shoved up near the cashier's cage and started over. He made his way through the cars, and as he squeezed by the last one, he looked like a sea lion.
Hello, Novak. We identified her.
Well, you had lots to work with, Hellman.
Where are you going?
Out on Post Street.
I'll go with you. Her name was Agnes Bolton.
You read it somewhere?
She was a government agent.
They got their money's worth.
Coroner says she died of quick poison.
How quick?
5 minutes.
You're working him too hard, Hellman.
He's got a license. He says 5 minutes.
She was in that phone booth 10 minutes. Nobody got to her.
She looked dead to me, Novak. I don't believe you.
Well, I'm hurt.
I don't believe a thing you say.
That's up to you. I'm not starting a religion, Hellman. I watched her for 10 minutes. Nobody got to her. You better check on that little guy.
Yeah?
She was carrying a green bag. A little guy walked out of there with.
He sounds hard to find. You don't.
Hey, mister, is this your ticket?
Yeah, it's a blue nag.
Well, you better come down and drive it up.
Why?
I can't get to the wheel. The guy on there won't move.
Huh?
I don't blame him either. When you're dead, you got a right to rest.
Hellman stood there a minute, wiping his teeth with his tongue, and it began to sound like somebody beating a bathtub with a piece of steak. When he finished making noises, we walked down the ramp to the car. It was the little guy who had taken the green bag. He was hunched over, and he was grabbing the wheel as if he'd just married it. Hellman lifted his head up and laid him across the seat. The light was bad, but you could see a little of his face. There was watering around his forehead, and the damp hair was plastered down under his hat brim. The perspiration had broken up and started to run down his forehead like tears, and you got the idea he cried out of his hairline instead of his eyes. He didn't look surprised or pained. He just stared with a puzzled look as if he'd missed part of the conversation. Hellman stood there trying to wipe some egg off his coat and turning to look at the guy to make sure he didn't leave.
So what happened, Novak?
So he had an automobile accident, Hellman. I don't know.
He's your passenger?
He bummed the ride himself. When I saw him, he was on his way with that green bag.
Where is it?
He got talked out of it. You better check on a guy named Max Hunter.
Whose cousin is he?
He gave me $200 to tail Agnes Bolton. I got another offer, too.
Yeah?
A blonde biscuit, and she said everything on the beat.
For a total stranger, you sure met a lot of people.
You better meet a lot of them, too, Hellman, because one of them got to Agnes Bolton.
How about Junior here? Did he crawl down the ramp and die on your seat covers?
I don't know how he got here.
Well, maybe you left him here and forgot.
No, he wouldn't slip my mind. I haven't murdered anybody in the front seat.
Oh, but it's lively, though. You better get a story, Novak.
You already got mine, Hellman.
You won't like the ending.
No, but I'll bet you do.
I like it fine, Novak. You're the only lead on Agnes Bolton. I'll shop around and get enough to pin you down.
You couldn't pin down a dead butterfly, Hellman. You better look up Max Hunter and check on a boat called the Seventh Heaven.
I will, and I'll put a tail on you, Novak. Follow you all over San Francisco. He'll go any place.
That's fine, because I got a suggestion. As soon as Hellman left, I took a cab out to that address on Post Street, but it was a waste of time. I might as well have been peddling tip sheets in a monastery. There was a brown house on the corner, and there was a big curved window that stuck out from the rest of the house like a wart on the back of your neck. A toothy old man answered the door and said he didn't know Agnes Bolton. I was pretty sure he was on the level. He just kept nodding his head and rubbing the wrinkles on his face. There were enough of them there to bundle up and sell as a canal. I left downtown. On the way, I went by the yacht harbor, and the Seventh Heaven had moved out into the stream. Well, it was raining harder now, and the docks looked shiny as if somebody had given them a coat of egg white. Well, I had a couple of places to hit, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy who never learned that if you keep your foot on a bar rail for 20 years, it'll do more good for your arches than it will for your brain. I finally found him in the hunt room of the Bellevue Hotel.
A drink for Mr. Novak. Something to take off the chill.
No, I don't want to drink, Jocko, and you've had enough, too.
I refuse to shiver to death, Patsy. I'd look terrible with a blue face.
Will you stop drinking, Jocko?
I hate whiskey, Patsy, but I'm drinking tonight with a purpose. I made a deal with Charlie the bartender to buy every 8th drink, and I've got him on the run. By morning, I'll have him in bankruptcy court.
Look, Jocko, I'm in trouble.
I always know when I've had enough to drink, Patsy. When I tilt the glass up, the rim rubs against the bridge of my nose. It's a sort of safeguard, so that when my nose begins to break out in blisters, I know I've had enough for the night.
Will you listen?
Patsy, you sound like a young girl coming home from boarding school. You'll never be on the right side of things. You'll always be in trouble because you're a bad citizen. You're a shabby half-step in the march of progress.
All right, Jocko.
You don't know the difference between good and evil. For you, all of human endeavor is a vague blur in high heels, and your vocabulary is a few gutter terms sandwiched in between yes and no. You'll never be any good, Patsy.
Yeah.
You might as well try to recapture melancholy or ventilate a swamp. You haven't a chance, Patsy. You'll never be any good.
Are you all through, Jocko?
Yes, if you're going to be touchy.
Hellman wants me on a murder rap.
Yes?
Some tubby woman died in the hotel lobby.
Sounds like his mother.
She was a government agent. I followed her in there.
Patsy, you've got to start trusting the government.
I was paid to follow her, but she ate some poison somewhere along the line.
That's the trouble with food.
I got hired by a guy named Max Hunter.
Look him up and resign. That's the best way out of this thing.
I don't know where to find him. And I think that Max Hunter's a phony. Oh, you gotta help me.
Yeah?
Now, he gave me this card. His prints must be on it. Check it down at headquarters, will you? Find out if he's got a record and then tag by my place.
Yes, I better have a drink first. There's an ugly taste in my mouth. I think it's saliva.
Will you hurry up, Jocko? All you do is drink.
That's all I have left, Patsy. I'm too young to die and too old to do almost anything else.
Yeah, sure.
It's true, Patsy. When you get to be my age, most of the quiet pleasures are fattening, and most of the active ones would kill me. Good night, lover.
When I left Jocko, I dropped by the Chronicle morgue to look up Max Hunter. There was nothing under Hunter. I looked through every Max from Bear back to Beer Bum, and I couldn't find a thing. Well, it was close to 11 when I rode down to the office for a final check. It wasn't raining hard anymore. It was a nice, easy drizzle. You could hear it playing against the sheds along Pier 19. It sounded quiet, almost private, like the sound a woman makes when she runs her fingernail up and down her stocking. It got on your nerves at first, and you began to enjoy it. The minute I got to the door, I knew something was wrong. There wasn't any reason, but I got the feeling. The same way you know sometimes when you're going to get the busy signal on the phone. I could see her lying there on the floor before I turned on the light. You took one look at her, and you knew she was the sort of girl whose name ought to be Pearl or Myrtle. Somebody'd sapped her, and she was lying with one hand stretched out and the other under her hair. It wasn't really hair. It looked more like a pelt or a raccoon just after a shampoo. It was fuzzed up on the sides, and on top she'd combed it back so tight it was about to go under the scalp. She began to move a little. When I bent over, she started to mumble.
What do you want?
The red, if you're going to stay long. Here, put your head up.
Are you Mr. Novak?
It's too late to change.
Where's Agnes Bolton? Where'd she go, Mr. Novak?
I don't know where she went. Was she a good girl?
Something's happened to her.
Don't worry, it won't happen again. Who sent you here, Max Hunter?
Yeah. Please help me out.
All right, come on.
I'm Francine Kane. I came to find out about Agnes Bolton.
You're a deep sleeper. What happened?
You wouldn't know her.
I would if she's a tall blonde on the make for that green bag. Who is she?
Joan Haywood. You can find her at the Geary Theater.
She an actress?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
Her stray talents, Mr. Novak, are dimensional rather than dramatic. If you're smart, you'll stay away from her.
Don't tell him anymore, Fran. He's paid up.
Hello, Hunter. You oversold me.
You give me back the $200.
I'm going to give you lots for your money.
Don't include Agnes Bolton. I don't know anything about her.
Is that a lie?
Might be. There's a green bag.
Joan Hayward has it.
Is that a lie?
The little guy didn't think so. She left him dead in my car.
Let's go, Fran.
No, you're in a hurry, Max.
You're not. I hope you like your office, Novak.
Huh?
Because this is where you're going to spend the night.
Don't let him feel bad, lady. It must have been his turn. He was crumpled up against the desk, and she was staring down at him as if she forgot to water the plants. When I rode by the Geary Theater, it was dark, so I looked up Joan Hayward's address. When I got out to her place, I knew I'd made a mistake. The landlady clutched her bathrobe like a bar of solid gold and told me Joan Hayward left the house 10 minutes ago. There was a cabbie at the corner, and he said he dropped her at the Gold Bar Club a few minutes before. I got down there about 1 o'clock, and Hellman was wandering around, stopping every few feet as if he expected to hear something. The bar was dark except for a light over on one side, and over near the jukebox, Joan Hayward was stretched out as dead as a deer on a fender. At first, Hellman didn't pay any attention when I walked in. I stood there for a while and looked at Joan Hayward. She still looked pretty, except in the dim light her skin looked coarse and reminded you of a piece of felt that was almost worn out. But the rest was all right, and Hellman came over for another look.
What did you forget, Novak?
My black tie. How'd it happen?
The bar was closed. Where were you?
Crawling out from under your thumb.
Yeah. We're going to keep that coroner. It was quick poison.
Yeah.
We found a needle in her coin purse. She didn't know about it and ran into trouble when she started to call up.
You better find this guy, Max Hunter.
That's going to be hard.
Yeah?
There is no Max Hunter.
Does she believe that?
Your Schicker friend came in with a card. We went over the fingerprints. They belong to Jackie Wren. He's wanted for espionage.
For more than that now, Hellman.
Maybe. Where have you been?
Look, Hellman, stop needling me. I won't go on the block for her.
Don't you like her?
I got an alibi you can't break. I've been all over town. Ask your tail. Ask your tail where I've been.
That won't get it.
Huh?
He reported in at 11:30. You got the wrong idea, Novak. You don't rate overtime.
When I left there, I knew everything was downhill. Hellman could stick me for everything but Dan McGrew. My only out was to find Jackie Wren, but you can't ring that many doorbells in one night. I went through the book, but there was no Jackie Wren or Max Hunter listed. I went home to get some sleep, and if they turned Gabriel loose tonight, that was all right with me. Jocko called up about 9 and said there was still no trace of Wren. Well, some mornings you can't trust yourself with a razor, so I got dressed and went down to a Greek's on Geary Street for breakfast. The murder was all over page 1, but there were so many pictures of Hellman you couldn't tell who was dead. I was about halfway through breakfast when I noticed a story down in the corner. A girl named Toni Pritchard had been found dead out in the marina. The story said everybody liked her. The police didn't have a lead, and they couldn't find a reason. It seemed kind of funny, but when I got to the last paragraph, I began to wonder. It said she was employed by the Musitone Company and worked the late shift as a switchboard operator. I wasn't sure, but you can't pass the dice when you only got $1 left, so I jumped down to see Frank Lupo. He said the Musitone Company owned the jukebox in the Gold Bar Club, but it worked like all the rest. People use a little microphone in front of the box. They call into a main switchboard for songs. I grabbed Jocko, and we got up to the Musitone Company. The guy in charge said, sure, they recorded some of the talk just to check on the girls, and sometimes the girls did it just for laughs. Well, we started through the recordings, and about half hour later, Jocko rolled a 7.
No, Patsy, they're all old ones. Try this.
Yeah. Now put it down. I'll handle the needle.
There.
Crazy, Jack. You should know something's wrong.
Let me handle it, friend.
You don't get into trouble. I don't want you to get into trouble, Jackie.
Will you let me worry? You get back to the hotel. I'll meet you at the Kenwood right after.
It's too late. She's coming now. I can go until you call, Jackie.
You made a mistake, Joan. It's one time you shouldn't have hurried.
That's enough, Jocko. Let's get up to Kenwood.
Why don't we think it over a while?
Put the record down and come on there at the Kenwood. You heard the shots.
That's what I'm worried about. If that fellow's any kind of a mechanic, he's had time to reload.
I got down to headquarters and told Hellman why that girl, Toni Pritchard, lost her vote. We rode out to the Kenwood, and Hellman started through the register. There was no Jackie Wren listed, and we didn't have any better luck with the girl. I briefed the desk clerk, and he said he thought there were 2 people in the hotel who looked like that, but he didn't know their names. Well, all we could do was wait for him to show. So Hellman and I walked down the street and slid into the car. It must have been about 3 o'clock, and for the next 4 hours we sat in there. About 7 o'clock it began to rain harder. It wasn't easy to see the front of the Kenwood. I got out to wipe the windshield, and that was a mistake because just then the door of the hotel swung open. The girl came out first, and then Jackie Wren. He saw me right away, and the 2 of them jumped over to the curb and got into a car. Riding with Hellman's just about as safe as eating an arsenic sandwich. When we got to the corner, they turned east and started down Bush. It wasn't easy to stay behind them. The rain was hitting the windshield, and it was like trying to see through a mint julep. When we got past Jones, Hellman began to close in. It must have scared Wren too much because it stopped and he swung the car around with Hellman a few feet behind, and it was a dead end both ways.
You can't get out now. Open the door.
Yeah. There he is, over to the wall. Over here, Hellman. He'll go down that embankment on the other side.
Oh, he can't. It's too steep. Stay on this side. You see him?
No. But he's around, I think.
You got a chance now, Wren. Come on out.
I don't like you that well, mister.
Over there by the embankment. Can you see the girl?
She's with him.
Over to one side. Move up in front.
Oh, you're confused, Hellman. I pay the taxes.
It's gonna hurt from now on, Wren. I'm coming over.
I hope you make it, copper. All right, copper. Unless you want a medal, I'm through.
You don't need the gun, then. Get rid of it. Just toss it over there.
I can't even lift my arm.
Throw it down, mister.
Jackie, please. I threw it right at you, copper. Francine, you crazy woman, you crazy. You let him kill me.
He's going over that embankment.
You let him kill me right in front of you.
No, Jackie. Please, Jackie, I tried to stop you. Jackie.
Grab her, Novak. She's going over.
Leave me alone. Honey. But, Jackie, I want you.
Grab her.
I want you, Jackie. At least they can let me have this. Jackie!
Long way down.
Yeah. Too bad her name wasn't Jill. Last I saw Francine, she was lying down at the bottom in the rain. Her head was over to one side, and you knew with a little push it'd roll around as easy as a ball bearing on a plate. Her face was clean, but the rain was beginning to wash the dirt down, and when I left, she wasn't pretty anymore. Jackie Wren outlasted her by a few hours, and Hellman used them all. Agnes Bolton was carrying government papers bound for China. The four people were split into teams. Jackie Wren and Francine were trying to outbid Joan Hayward and the little guy. The way Jackie had it figured, he'd find out what ship they were going out on and pick it up from there. Joan Hayward knew he was dealing with me, so she followed me after I left that barber shop. She saw me park the car in that garage and tailed me down to the bowling alley. She planted the needle in Agnes Bolton's purse, and the little guy tagged along behind waiting for something to happen. Just to be on the safe side in case anything went wrong, Joan doubled by the office and gave Francine a headache. When the little guy got the green bag, he took it to Joan. It was too good to split, so she killed him and left him in my car. Well, then she made a mistake. When Jackie called her up and asked her to come down to the Gold Bar Club, she bought the story. Oh, it would have worked out fine for Jackie if he hadn't talked in front of that microphone. But a nosy girl heard it and tried to put the screws on him. Well, Hellman asked only one question. About that conversation between Jackie and the girl. Why would a person say anything that private in front of a microphone? I don't know. But I told him about a couple of others Jocko and I heard. He didn't say anything, but I'll bet he gets a hold of those records and plays them every night before he goes to sleep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A gang of truck hijackers has been working in your city. They've stolen 14 loaded trucks. They've kidnapped and beaten one of the drivers. There's no clue to their identity. Your job? Get them. With the winter season coming on, young America and all of us will be concentrating on our favorite winter sports: ice skating, bowling, basketball, skiing. One thing you'll notice, whatever young America does, wherever it goes, Chesterfield goes along. Yes, Chesterfield is the choice of young America. Chesterfield is the choice of more thousands of smokers everywhere. People are learning the facts about Chesterfield, learning that Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine, learning that Chesterfield is really mild, really satisfying. How about it, friends? Change to Chesterfield yourself. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 9:47 a.m. when we got to the county hospital. Ward 419.
Hi.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yeah. I know you guys?
No, sir. We're police officers. Just my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I do, sir. Hello. A couple of stools over there. Drag them up. Sit down.
I'll get him. Here you go.
Thanks. How do you feel, Mr. Gilmore?
Rough. Real rough. Feel like I've ridden 50 miles in the back of a ready-mix cement truck. Weren't for the pills they'd be giving me, I think I'd go off my rocker.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, as much as I can remember. Only goes so far, then there's a room full of black.
If you'll tell us what you can, please.
Yeah. Yesterday, that's when it was.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday morning. I checked in for work. Had a load I was going to take over to Phoenix. Supposed to shove off about 10:15.
Did you know what you were carrying?
Yeah. I saw the waybill. Some of the stuff they were loading it. Used furniture. Didn't make any difference to me. They load the truck and I'll drive it.
Uh-huh.
I went across the street. Little coffee place over there. Got my vacuum bottle filled and came back. By that time, they had the truck loaded. I signed the waybill in the office and went out and got into the truck. The two guys were waiting for me.
They were in the cab of the truck, huh?
Yeah, sitting there, kind of scrunched down so you couldn't even see them from the outside.
Yes, sir.
As soon as I opened the door, one of them had a gun pointed at me. Told me to get into the truck like there was nothing wrong. Just start the motor and get the truck away from me.
Did they get out of the truck at that time?
No, they were waiting for me when I got there. They told me to drive away, and I did. Wasn't going to mess around with them having a gun.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we drove about 3 blocks, and he told me to pull into an alley just off of Santa Fe.
Santa Fe and what, do you remember?
By Porter Street, between Porter and Enterprise.
I see. Like to go ahead?
Then they told me to pull into the alley, and when I did, they made me get out of the truck. Took me around back and broke the seal and told me to get inside.
And that's what you did?
Officer, if they'd have told me to jump off the city hall, I'd have gone ahead and done it with that gun pointed at me. I'm a coward. Fellow waves a gun around and nothing's going to do just like he tells me.
Yes, sir.
Those guys are mean, you could tell.
How's that?
Oh, I'm a kind of a student of phrenology. I could tell about those fellas real plain.
Student of what?
Phrenology. You know, bumps on the head.
Oh.
They all mean something. Of course, I didn't get a chance to make a good examination of these guys, but I could see it. Real criminal heads. Bumps told me so. One fellow had a head that was one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yes, sir.
He was mean to his mother, I could tell. Had a bump right here. Here, you see?
Yeah.
He was mean to his mother.
Yes, sir. Well, what happened after they tied you up?
Just left me there.
I see. You want to go on?
Yeah. They must have drove for about 20 minutes when they stopped, pulled in some sort of a driveway.
I figure that.
Well, right after they stopped, they made a half U-turn, then backed up this ramp, steep. Then they stopped and took me out of the truck, blindfolded me, and made me get out of the truck.
Now, this place where they stopped, that's where they unloaded the furniture, did they?
Yeah. They must have taken it out of there. I heard them thumping around the truck. Sounded like they were unloading it.
Well, now, what'd they do after they got all the furniture out?
Put me back in, drove out to where you found the truck. After they both climbed into the back, beat me up. Don't remember much after that.
Mm-hmm. Both of them worked you over, huh?
Yeah. Both of them got in their licks. Especially the one who was mean to his mother. He was vicious. He was mean. They kept hitting me with their fists until I just passed out. Don't remember anything after that till I came to in the back of the truck. That's when I called the cops and the guys in uniform came out. I guess they're the ones who called you.
Yes, sir.
Now, is there any way that you might be able to tell us where they took you?
You mean when they unloaded the furniture?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think maybe I got an idea. I tried to figure out how fast they was driving. And after you've been a driver for a while, you get to know. I'd say they were going about 20 miles an hour. We were still in town. My own guess is that they went out Alameda. Must have gone out Santa Fe and then turned on to Alameda.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing kids yelling. That'd probably be Santa Fe High School.
Yeah.
I guess we went out Alameda to maybe 43rd or 44th, and they turned right. Kind of hard to figure it then. The truck got tied up in traffic. It was hard to tell if they were stopping for that or they were just at a light.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say that they went out to about Avalon. Maybe they went up to San Pedro. I don't think so. I'd say Avalon. Then they turned left and headed for Hawthorne. Not sure how far they went, but I'd figure maybe around Rosecrans, and then they turned a couple more times, and they stopped and drove up that steep ramp.
Mm-hmm. Now, you figure they ended up around Rosecrans and Avalon.
Yeah. Guess that's not much help, though, huh?
Well, it gives us an idea where to start looking.
Well, a couple other things that might help you.
What's that?
Well, it seems that when we started to back up the ramp, I heard a bump, like they backed into a car. They didn't hit it hard, but I bet they did hit a car.
Yeah.
After that, they pulled the truck forward and stopped and backed up again. This time, they scraped into the side of a house. I could feel it run along the side of the truck. It sounded like they might have torn up some of the wood on the house.
Yeah.
Will that help any?
Yes, sir. We'll have our crime lab check the truck and see if they can come up with anything.
Sure hope you can. Oh, you talked to my boss yet?
No, sir, but he's been notified, we understand.
I bet he's plenty sore about it.
Well, we wouldn't know about that, but he should understand that it wasn't your fault.
He should, but he won't. I know.
That right?
Yeah. He doesn't understand anything that doesn't go on his way. Spotted a mile off.
What's that, sir?
His head. All kinds of bumps.
10:06 a.m. We continued to question the victim, Russell Gilmore. He gave us descriptions of the two men who kidnapped him. He also told us that at one time he heard one of the men call the other by the name Leo. Further, he told us that when the two bandits had taken him from the truck, they'd placed him in a garage. He was able to feel the wall, and he said that he was sure it was a plaster wall, inasmuch as he could feel the studs and the wire holding the plaster. He said that at one time he heard a woman come out of a house and say something to the thieves while they unloaded the truck. He told us that the garage wasn't very large because there was no echo on the sounds that were made in the building. We called the office and got out a supplementary broadcast on the thieves carrying their descriptions. 10:40 a.m. Frank and I left the county hospital and drove over to Central Station. We went up to the crime lab and talked to Ray Pinker.
On the right rear fender, we found evidence that the truck had hit a car. Listed some paint chips. Got them here.
Uh-huh. Looks like a blue car, huh?
Yeah. I checked the paint with the Ditzer Production color book. Here, I'll show you. We got all the paints cataloged by color.
Uh-huh.
Here. This is the one.
Yeah, but Ray, there are a lot of blues here. How can you be sure this is it?
Well, here. You see they got a color patch on each page in the book? A hole in the patch?
Oh, this little hole here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, we just put this chip we lifted from the truck in the hole. Now lay it down. Get this lamp. There. Color matches. Get them the same light, and you can see they're the same paint.
Huh. Look at that, Joe. Same.
Yeah, I see. Well, what do we got out of it, Ray?
The car the truck hit was a 1953 Hudson Jet. It was a single-tone car. You know, the top color matches the body color.
Yeah.
You can only use this on one-color cars unless you got a special order.
Uh-huh. Did you find any house paint on the side of the truck, Ray?
Yeah. Over here.
Might be able to do a little better on that for you.
Uh-huh.
House the truck ran into is about 36 years old. Might be a little more than that, but it's right around there.
How did you come up with that?
Been painted 18 times. Figure once every 2 years you come out with 36.
Yeah. So how do we know it's been painted every 2 years?
We don't, Frank. Just guessing. But the layers of paint are pretty even. Might indicate they did it regularly. You know, didn't let the paint go too far before they redid it.
Oh, yeah.
Here are the chips of the house paint. Here, I'll put one of them under the microscope. Here, take a look, Joe.
Okay.
You see okay?
I haven't got a... Wait a minute. I'll adjust it. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Now, you notice the first coat was a cream white.
Mm-hmm.
And they stuck pretty much to that for the next half dozen paint jobs. Then they changed to a barn red. Then to a green, then back to cream white. That goes on for 3 layers, and then to the blue that's on it now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ray, if we find the house, can you tell us if it's the same one?
It shouldn't be too hard. Aren't many of them around.
Well, how many?
Well, 18 coats would be 18 factorial. That's multiplying 18 times 17 times 16 times 15, so on to times 1. I got it worked out for you.
I hope you have. I'm
Here.
not with you at all. Here.
Well, look. Works out to 1 in 6,402,373,705,728,000 chances of finding its twin.
Oh. That's pretty long odds.
Well, if every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth owned 10 houses apiece, there wouldn't be another one like it.
$11:37 a.m. We put in a call to Leighton Prince. Harlan Stahl told us that his crew had gone over the truck thoroughly, but had failed to come up with anything. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the M.O. that the thieves had used. They told us that the results would be ready for us late in the afternoon. We contacted hit and run detail, but there'd been no reports that could have been the car that the truck had hit. We went to the office and got a large map of the city. Then we drove out to the county hospital to talk to the victim again. We asked him to trace his movements while he'd been held prisoner in the back of the truck. He drew a line down Santa Fe Avenue, up to Alameda, then over to Avalon Boulevard on 43rd Street. From there, he traced the streets down to Rosecrans Avenue. He drew a circle on the map centered on the intersection of Rosecrans Avenue and Avalon Boulevard. He told us that we'd find the house we were looking for inside the circle. Before we left him, we made arrangements for the mugshots to be taken to the hospital for him to check for a possible identification of the suspects. 12:40 p.m. We contacted Records and Identification Division and asked them if they'd had any luck on running the name Leo. We were told that they had 3 possibles for us. The addresses on the packages were not in the area that had been circled by the victim, Russell Gilmore. We got in touch with Lieutenant Jack Smyers and filled him in on the developments. He called Metro Division and made arrangements for 3 additional teams of men to work with us in a search of the streets within the circle drawn by the victim. He also contacted the divisional commanders and asked for their cooperation. The men were instructed to find a residence with a steep driveway leading to a detached garage. The house would have a wooden porch on the right side of the house as it faced the street. It would be damaged to the wood on the porch. Also, there was a possibility that a Hudson automobile would be parked either in the driveway or on the street right next to it. The car would have some damage done to it. 5:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from the search area.
Man, I'm sure tired.
Oh, I'm with you. A lot of streets out there.
Yeah, a lot of houses on the streets. Wonder how the guys from Metro are doing.
I don't know. I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a minute. Let me get there. Yeah, okay. Hang on to it. We'll be right out. Right. Well, the Metro boys did some good.
Huh?
The house. They found it. The address given us on the phone was 1486 Cedar Street down in Compton. It took us 35 minutes to get out there from the city hall. The officers from Metro Division Reserve stood by until we got there. We found the house located on Cedar between Dwight Street and Towada Avenue. It was a 1-story frame building with a stucco garage in the rear of the lot. On the left front side of the house was a wooden porch which had been scraped by some large object. Several of the pickets in the railing were broken. On the street in front of the house next door, we found a 1953 Hudson Jet painted a light blue. There was a dent in the left rear fender. We couldn't tell for certain, but the color of the car and the color of the paint on the porch seemed to match the chips that we'd seen in the crime lab. While the officers from Metro covered the rear of the building, Frank and I rang the front doorbell. There was no answer. We checked the garage, but we found nothing that would tie the house owners in with a robbery kidnapping. The interior walls of the garage were rough wooden studs. Between them, we could see chicken wire embedded in plaster. The physical description of the house, the ramp leading to the garage itself, and the car parked on the street matched in every detail the picture that we'd been given by the victim. 6:10 p.m. We got the name Conrad Lewis from the mailbox in front of the house, and while the officers from Metro checked it with our office, Frank and I went next door to talk with the neighbors.
Yeah?
Wonder if we could talk to you, man.
Sure. Who are you?
Well, it might be better if we got in off the porch.
You ain't coming in here unless I know who and what you are.
We're police officers.
Oh?
Yes, ma'am. Here's our identification.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on in.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Myrtle Richards.
This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. I'm Frank Smith.
Oh, how do you do?
How are you, ma'am?
You just sit down and I'll turn off the television.
Thank you.
Comedy. I've seen it before a couple of times. I always laugh at them again, though. They're funny.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a great boon to the people, television. This one's only 12-inch, but I think maybe next year I'll get a bigger one, maybe even color. They got it now, you know. It's true color. It's beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, I ain't actually seen it myself. I just read about it, you know. Beautiful. Oh, I'm a great fan. I got it on all day, right from the early show to the late show. I understand next week one of them stations is going to start an early show. Now, that'll be nice, won't it?
Yes, ma'am, sure. I wonder if we could ask you a few questions.
Certainly. You just go right ahead.
That car out front, does that belong to you?
The blue one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's mine. I just got it a few months ago. That's what you're here about, huh?
I beg your pardon?
About how somebody hit my car? Big dent. Isn't that what you're here for?
No, not exactly. Do you know who hit your car?
No. I wish I did. If I knew, I'd sue him. Imagine hitting a car that's parked right at the curb and not leaving a note or something to say who did it. Person that ran into me must be insured. Wouldn't cost him nothing. All he had to do was leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. When was the automobile hit?
Yesterday morning. I walked down to the market to do some shopping and get some things for dinner, pretzels, potato chips, things to eat while I watched the TV. When I got back, the dent was there. Did it while I was gone. Did it and didn't even leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us who lives next door to you, please?
Which side?
The left side over there.
Well, that's Lewis's house. Why are you asking about them?
How long have they lived there, do you know?
Yeah, I guess it's been about 10 years. They moved in right after Conrad. That's Mr. Lewis, right after he opened up a new store.
What line of business is he in?
Well, he got some kind of a shipping business. Has deals with different stores all over the state.
Did you see Mr. Lewis yesterday?
Yes. Matter of fact, I did. He come over like usual at 5:30.
He usually come over at that time, does he?
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, yeah. You see, there's a TV show he likes to see. I watch it, but his wife don't care for it. She watches something else, so Conrad comes over here. He was here last night.
You see him during the day at all?
No, I didn't.
You know where they are tonight?
I'm not sure, but I think they went to the movies. Seems to me Mrs. Lewis said that her and Conrad was going to a show over in town.
That's probably for us. I'll get it.
I imagine so. Didn't anybody come calling on me this time of night?
Oh, it's Henderson, Joe. I'll be right back.
Right. Have you noticed any trucks in the neighborhood lately, Mrs. Richards?
Oh, well, I'll have to think about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mean like the garbage or can truck, do you?
No, ma'am. Large moving vans.
See the others quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, now, let me see. Well, there were some people who just moved into a new house down the street. That was about a month ago. That didn't help?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Richards.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah. Excuse me, please, Miss Richards.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Henderson ran the name Conrad Lewis through the files.
Mm-hmm.
He's been convicted for armed robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield because they're learning the facts about Chesterfield. Facts like these.
A doctor has been examining Chesterfield smokers for 20 months, almost 2 full years now. We've just received his latest report, and it confirms again no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's a matter of record. And so is this. Chesterfield is the only cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine. Those are the facts about Chesterfield. More good reasons why Chesterfields taste so good, smoke so much milder. How about it, friends? Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
record showed that Conrad Lewis had been arrested for suspicion of armed robbery 10 years before. He'd been brought to trial, convicted, and sent to San Quentin. He'd served 6 years, and then he'd been released. He was not on parole at the time. Frank and I parked our car down the street from Lewis's house, and we waited for him to return. At 10:57 p.m., we saw a dark-colored Lincoln sedan turn onto the street and swing into the driveway of the Lewis residence. A man and a woman got out of the car and entered the house. Frank and I waited a few minutes, and then we walked up to the front door and rang the bell.
Yeah?
You Conrad Lewis?
Yeah, that's right. Who are you?
Police officers. Like to talk to you.
Sure, come on in. What's this all about? Something wrong?
You own a truck?
Hmm?
A truck. Do you own one?
No. You mind telling me what this is all about?
Can you account for your time since Monday night?
Why?
Can you?
Look, I don't know what this is all about, and I'm not going to tell you a thing until you let me know what you want. Now, what do you want?
The answers to those two questions. 12:15 a.m. It had been only a little over 48 hours since Russell Gilmore had been kidnapped and beaten, and we had a suspect in custody. However, Lewis refused to admit any complicity in the crime. We talked to him for several hours, but he told us nothing. He admitted that he'd been arrested before and that he'd served time in San Quentin. However, he stuck to his statement that since his release, he'd done his best to live by the law. With the evidence at hand, he was booked at the main jail on a charge of suspicion of violation of Section 211 PC. We obtained the keys to his place of business, and Frank and I went out to check it. It was a large wholesale store selling used furniture. A search of the premises failed to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. While Frank went through the stock rooms, I checked the business ledgers.
Nothing back there either, Joe. How'd you do?
Well, according to these, Lewis does a big shipping business.
That's what the woman next door told us.
He's been making shipments up to Oakland regular.
Books tell what they were?
Yeah, right here. He's been sending large lots of used stuff to a place on MacArthur Boulevard. There's a whole list of it here. Tables, living room sets, TV sets.
Better get in touch with the police up there and have them check this place out, huh?
Yeah. Without that stolen property, we're not going to have a very good case against him.
You got the address of the place up north?
Yeah. Let's go back to the office and get a call in.
Right. Sure hope they come up with the answers.
Well, if they don't, we might be in trouble.
Yeah?
The DA's office is liable to throw the whole thing out. Thursday, June 5th, 8:20 a.m. We put in a call to Captain of Inspectors Tony Bolger in Oakland and asked him to check on the recipient of the furniture shipment from Lewis. We also gave him as detailed a description of the stolen merchandise as we were able to obtain. In the meantime, Lewis had been admitted to bail and was released. Thursday, 11:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from checking a lead on one of the suspects who'd driven the truck. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. Tony Bolger from Oakland.
Let's hope we called it.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony. Yeah? Well, what'd he say? Well, that's the way it looked from here. What? Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
How about it?
When you talk to the man who bought this stuff, he's clean.
How about the merchandise itself?
It's all stolen. 11:20 p.m. We got in touch with Lieutenant Smyers and filled him in on the new developments. After we talked to him, we contacted Officers Max Herman and Ed Benson and made arrangements to meet them at the house on Cedar Street. It took us less than half an hour to get out to Compton. The other officers were there by the time we arrived. While they covered the back door, Frank and I went up to the front.
You think he knows it's us?
I don't know. Try it again. Well, the car's in the driveway. We know he's in there.
Wait a minute. Sounds like somebody's coming now.
Yeah? What are you doing out here? Aren't you guys ever going to get off
my
my
back? Mind if we
back?
come in and talk?
I got a choice?
No, you haven't.
Well, then come on in. Want to go through the house again?
That won't be necessary.
Yeah. I'm glad of that. What's it about this time?
Same as before.
Maybe you better spell it for me.
We can go that route if that's the way you want it.
Go ahead. I like fairy tales.
All right. We got a report from a victim who was robbed and kidnapped. He was able to give us a description of this house, of your garage, and of the whole setup.
You've been on a spike again. You're seeing
We took a sample of the paint from your front porch. It matches paint found on a truck that was hijacked.
A lot of houses in L.A.
Not painted like this one.
You think you're going to send me to the joint with a batch of paint?
It's going to help.
Look, cop, you know I've been the rounds. I've seen enough trouble to know it's rough to get a conviction with circumstantial evidence. That's all you got with me, nothing more. Now, why don't you go home and I'll just forget you were here tonight?
We got the plant.
What?
We got the plant. They moved in on it.
The man you sold the stolen furniture to is willing to testify.
You know we got you cold. Now, why not cop out?
That's the way it hangs, huh?
That's the way.
All right, I'll get my coat and go with
Just point it out. We'll get it for you.
In the closet.
Never mind.
He's making a point of it all.
Outside. He's in his car. Yeah. Come on. He's heading down toward Rosecrans. Better hit the siren.
Right.
He's turning onto Rosecrans. Take a left.
I got him.
See him?
Wait a minute. Yeah, up ahead there. Try a shot?
Better not. Too many people around. Can't you close in on him?
I think we're pulling up.
Making a turn.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Hang on.
It's a dead end, Frank.
Yeah. He's in trouble, Joe.
Come on. Well, let's get him out of there. Yeah, that door's stuck. Wait a minute, I'll give you a hand. There. Can you get him?
Better call an ambulance. The motor's in his lap.
Is he still alive?
Looks like it. Can you help me here?
Yeah, let me get in there. All right. Come on, let's put him down here.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, Lewis.
I'll call the ambulance.
Right. Take it easy, Lewis. We've sent for a doctor.
I didn't see the sign. I didn't know the street didn't go through. Lousy break. Lousy break. I'd have made it if I stayed off this street. You'd never got me if I'd stayed off this street. I just turned the car and all of a sudden I was on a dead end.
Afraid you're wrong there, mister.
Huh?
You've been there a long time.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 14th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here's our star, Jack Webb.
Well, here it is. The most talked about Christmas gift of the year. The Chesterfield Christmas Carton. Now featured in nearly 1,300,000 retail tobacco stores from coast to coast. The famous covered bridge has been honored this week by a new Christmas tune, The Kissing Bridge. You'll be hearing a lot of it between now and Christmas. So give the gift that everybody's talking about. America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. Premium quality Chesterfield. Best to give, best to get for Christmas.
Conrad Austin Lewis and his Confederates were apprehended and brought to trial on 11 counts of grand theft auto and 1 count of kidnapping. They were found guilty and sentenced as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1, nor more than 10 years. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for a term of from 1 to 25 years in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Jim Griffith. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Buy new Fatima, the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. This Christmas, give Fatima in the special Christmas carton. Cork tip and plain ends, too.
Hear Merrill Miller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Lady with No Name.
The next time you're out for a drive, pick up Olive Street along about the 700 block. You can't miss it. It's a big building made out of white granite. The Cosmopolitan Building. The man who built it is doing a long run up at San Quentin for graft. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, rents an office in that building. International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A couple of rooms with a connecting wastebasket. The Lion has the only desk in the office and a typewriter that Remington dropped from their catalog back in 1915. Well, I walked in last Tuesday at 10 a.m. The office was full of taboo. She was a tall girl, very pretty, wearing slacks and a coat that must have set the mink population back 20 years. But she still looked cold, like she'd never get warm again. The Lion had one arm around her shoulders. He knew by this time that coat was the real article. There wasn't any music, but he didn't seem to mind.
Come in.
Not much room to dance.
We got trouble.
She's your date.
This is one of my operators, Mr. Regan.
How do you do, Mr. Regan?
Now, tell him exactly what you just told me.
Yes. Yes, all right. May I sit down? I feel strange.
Of course. Oh, there.
Thank you.
Get this, Regan.
I don't know where I live. I don't know my name.
Yeah?
I want you to find out who I am.
You heard that, Regan?
Heard what?
The verbal contract. You just hired it.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
And you're a witness in case anything comes up.
Please. Please, I don't feel well. I'm perfectly willing to pay you. You'll just find out who I am.
Well, look, lady, there's a cop on every corner.
I couldn't go to the place.
You got here.
Quit pushing her. This is our case.
I was afraid. I found this in my purse.
Mm-hmm. 32 caliber Smith & Wesson. Been fired. There's 3 gone.
What are you doing with that, miss?
I don't know.
Just been used by you?
I don't know.
Well, where'd you get it?
I just found it in my purse.
Remind you of anything?
No.
You take it.
Now, look, miss, I know you don't feel well, but there are certain questions you'll have to answer.
I just want you to find out who I am. It's terrible this way. It's...
Ain't it?
Yeah, you always had a way with women.
Help me bring her around so she can sign that contract.
She hasn't got a name, remember?
We'll give her a name. Jane Doe's good enough.
I guess so.
What do you mean?
She's dead. The Lion just stood there. He looked sad, like a water buffalo caught in a drought. Well, when she rolled onto the floor, her purse went with her. It cracked open, and the stuff inside spilled out on the rug. There wasn't anything to tell us who she was. No comb, no makeup. Nothing but a house key and a receipt for a cab ride dated that day. There wasn't even a label in that mink coat. Nothing to go on. I might as well have tried to walk to Catalina. I told the Lion to phone the coroner's office, and I hopped over to the cab company. They told me that the receipt came from meter 212, driven by a man named Servey. He worked the call box at Hollywood and Western. He was a little guy. I figured he got the job because they ran out of big uniforms. They double-crossed him on that cap. If it wasn't for his ears, he'd have been wearing a snood.
Sorry, bud. I got a fare.
Where is he, under the floorboards?
I got a fare.
Yeah, you said that. Where?
In there eating.
If your flag's up.
I'll pull it down. Happy?
You Johnny Serby?
Whose nose are you?
They told me I'd find Serby in this hack.
Who told you that?
Cab company.
They don't know any more than you do.
Now, look, never mind the jokes. Just give me that straight line.
Nix, will you? Got out this company uniform.
Well, we're going to get it back if you don't open up.
Get it out.
All right.
Louise pulled out 3 weeks ago. She took all the furniture with her. You can collect from her.
I'm not the finance company.
No?
Here.
Oh, private people, huh?
Well, who's getting caught?
Did you carry a brunette in a mink coat sometime this morning?
Maybe.
Where'd you drop her?
Downtown, 6th and Grand.
Where'd she live?
Ask her. I'm cruising in from the fair.
Where'd you pick her up?
In Burbank, Hollywood Way, and Kensington.
The fair's in Pomona. You took the long way.
I like to drive. It's company gas.
Yeah.
She was nice, real nice. You know what I mean? Real class.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, will you?
Yeah?
We didn't go anywhere, but time's up. That's 5 even.
Fast meter.
Hey, you want me to tell you about the guy?
What guy?
Tall, dark-haired, brown sport coat, movie type.
Go on.
He was chasing her when she caught my cab. He looked like a mash.
Was it?
Ask him.
Is that all?
She got in, we drove away.
Right here.
Thanks. No tip?
Like you said, we didn't go anywhere. Ever have somebody drop a key in your lap and say, go find a door? Well, I drove out to Burbank and I began looking around for a good lock near Hollywood Way in Kensington. I figured that key I'd found in Jane Doe's purse would have to fix something. I made my letter on the 10th house. There was a for sale sign on it. I didn't see anybody around, so I unlocked the door and I went in. Outside of something that smelled like tar and kerosene, the place was empty. I was just about to turn around and leave when a brown sport coat slid into the room. Movie type. When he walked over to me, I knew he drank the right kind of scotch.
Gonna use your GI loan?
I was just looking.
Gotta buy it. It's a steal.
No, the lady won't like it.
Your wife?
Girl in a mink coat.
You make that kind of dough?
She got it from somebody else.
You Hollywood guys. Where'd you get the key?
I borrowed it. She won't need it.
What's your name?
I didn't have a chance to ask her.
Oh, you're kind of slow, aren't you?
Sometimes.
We'll see how fast you can hit the door.
No, I just got here.
Yeah, now you're leaving.
Cab driver says he knows you.
I'm friendly. I talk to everybody.
Said you were doing a chase scene.
Could be. She was pretty.
They all look good in mink.
It's not the house. What do you want?
Well, we could start with a name.
It's Dameron.
Not enough.
That's all you get, wise punk. Now beat it.
You'll give more at homicide.
I don't see any bad.
Now, look, we can play games some other time. A cab driver put the finger on you as the last man to see that girl in mink.
You talk like she's dead.
You called it.
Too bad. There's a lot of fur coats in L.A. and a lot of guys chasing them. You got nothing.
That's what they always say downtown, but you'll talk.
I don't figure on leaving, but you're going on your way right now.
Better open a window, Dameron. You're sweating.
Keep talking, sunshine, and we'll make one in that far wall.
You got help in the back room?
Quit scratching around. It doesn't mean anything to you.
It didn't before she pulled a fade in my office, but it does now.
I'll buy you a new carpet. I don't know who let you out, but it's bedtime. You've been talking about a dead girl who doesn't even know her name. Now go back and finish your dream.
You got all the questions. Now let's fill in the answers.
I'm fresh out of box tops. There's the door user.
No, not yet. I'm going to get what I came for.
Little man, that's a promise.
You're out of condition, Dameron.
You're in a great position to throw that line.
Oh, you got talent, mister, but it's still raw. Come here. Now, come on, get up. I'm not through.
That's where you're wrong.
It's a big Luger.
Makes the same size hole. All right, punk, you got a name?
A lot of them for you.
Oh! School isn't out yet. Just answer.
It's Regan.
Okay, Regan, let this sink in. Forget you ever saw any dame in a mink coat. Forget you ever saw me.
That won't be hard.
Look, Junior, you just lost the round. Now remember what I told you. Have a memory lapse. Is that clear?
You made your point.
Now blow.
You always use a Luger?
For close work.
Well, then that 32 doesn't fit.
What 32?
The one that the girl was carrying.
You got it?
No, I gave it a homicide.
Good. It saves me a trip downtown.
You're not worried?
No, I'm very happy.
Huh?
Today's my birthday. That's the reason you're walking out of here.
The whole thing looked as phony as an undertaker in a white derby. Well, I went back to the office, and the lion was sitting there with a bottle of beer and a sandwich that looked like a couple of end tables. He stopped chewing when I came in.
What's her name?
It's still Jane Doe.
You've been gone 4 hours. Movie?
They don't open till noon.
All right, where you been?
A vacant house in Burbank. I trailed it up from that cab receipt.
What'd you find?
Guy named Dameron.
What'd he say?
Nothing.
Shy?
Tough.
That where you got the egg on your chin?
He was nervous.
When you gonna learn to be nice to people?
He had a gun, too.
Tell me more.
That's all.
I like this. It's got possibility.
All right, take off your saddle. The race is over.
When the coroner's boys showed up, they told me why she dropped.
That's easy. She died.
Poison.
Was that an autopsy?
Something about her color. It isn't official, but we can work on it.
Suicide?
Murder.
Why murder?
They feed themselves iodine and sleeping pills, but they don't take Alizine.
What's that?
A hot drug with a petrol base. It burns.
Homicide will handle it.
Sure, homicide will handle it. Only we got things to do. We got a stake in this.
You made her the client.
We're going to give her service, dead or alive.
What does Wendetti say?
I don't pay Wendetti. We find out who she is.
All right, you try.
Her picture shows up in the paper. She dropped dead in our office. How does it make us look?
They sent in the first string when she died.
You clear this up before homicide does.
They'll lift your license.
We won't need it.
What do you mean?
I still got Exhibit A.
What?
Smith & Wesson, 32 caliber.
You're withholding evidence?
I forgot to give it to them.
All right, now give them a call and tell them.
That was 5 hours ago. You make the call.
All right, I'll tell homicide. They'll give me a break.
That's what Dillinger thought.
Give me the gun.
They've got Jane Doe's prints on the wire. They'll have the answer in 10 hours. Cut that in half, Regan, and we've won the championship.
You'll have to give the cup back. You cheated. When I left the Lion, he looked happy, like a guy who had just figured the mystery melody. I had the gun with 3 bullets gone that Jane Doe had been carrying in her purse, the Lion in back of me, the police department in front. That left me about as much chance as a blue peanut on a wedding cake. I knew that if I walked into homicide with that .32, they'd hold on to me like a season pass. I had to find out who it was registered to, so I gambled and I went down to the city hall. I went in the Temple Street entrance, room 11, personnel division. If I pegged it right, I could get the dope on that gun without getting involved. I figured wrong.
Can I help you?
You in charge here?
Lunchtime, yeah.
Whose name matches these numbers?
Small arms?
Yeah.
What authority?
I just bought it.
Want to know if it's clean?
Yeah.
Caliber and make?
It's a .32, Smith & Wesson.
Okay. Smith & Wesson, 32. Yeah, right here. Got the weapon with you?
No, why?
No rule. No gun, no vitals.
I got it. Here.
Okay. Purchased August 1929, factory reblue job 1931, owned by American Trust and Loan, permitted to Dale W. Curtis.
Thanks.
I'll have to ask you to wait.
Why?
No rule. Got to run them all through ballistics.
Anything special?
Maybe. Found a guy floating around Silver Lake this morning, full of 32s.
Who?
Working on it. Have to ask you to wait.
I can't. I haven't had lunch yet.
Stick around. We may invite you.
I don't like your food.
Oh, don't worry. You can have anything you want the last day.
You're listening to the story of the lady with no name. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. If you are a graduate registered nurse, please listen carefully to this important message. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lady with no name and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there it was. The clerk took Jane Doe's gun and closed the door marked ballistic. I figured he couldn't be too sure about whether that .32 would match up, but I didn't want to wait around to find out. He left the vitals card on the counter. I spun it around and I got the address of Dale W. Curtis. It turned out to be a one-story frame that stood in the way of the new freeway they're building. The movers were just jacking it up and I caught the last carload of people leaving. They told me that Curtis hadn't lived there for 7 years. They did give a number over on Manzanita off Fountain, where I might be able to find him. It was an apartment on the second floor. From the looks of the place, it figured that the OPA had a fight on their hands. I rang the bell and waited. I don't know whether it was a lighting effect in that dim hallway, but when she opened that door, I expected to see those 1,000 ships slide down the ways again. She was wearing some kind of a filmy thing that made a spider's web look like burlap. She had a voice that stole over you like a pint of Irish ale.
I didn't expect you until tonight.
I broke my watch.
Come on in. I'll see if I can fix it. I'm grateful for the swift movement.
Yeah, it shows.
My name's Marlo Curtis.
I want to see your husband.
He's not here.
Do you expect him?
No.
Where is he?
Up north.
Business trip?
Yeah. He sold out.
Oh, what kind of business?
Ask the warden.
Huh?
The Curtis is in the prison cemetery. Been there 5 years.
Sorry.
Don't be. He deserves it.
You're going to drown in those tears.
I'm still wearing black.
The right color, wrong occasion.
Soda?
What?
Just drink. How do you want?
Well, you're mixing.
Hey. Now, isn't that better?
I don't know. This is my first drink.
You'll get another. The weather's changed.
There's nothing here.
You're quick. Must have a good straight man.
Yeah, you.
You get top billing. What's your name?
Regan?
Detective?
Maybe.
Arrest. Sergeant?
I'm due for a promotion.
You'd make a better lieutenant. Come here. If I had anything to do with you, be captain.
Yeah, sure, until you snag your colonel.
You're nasty, too.
Did I pay for my drink?
Get out.
Tell me about this nail file.
You got that out of my purse.
I had one hand free.
You two-bit shadow artist. Now get out. Hello? Yes, he's here.
Yeah?
This you, Regan? You don't know me.
I've been lucky so far.
They should never have taken that gun down to the city hall.
You get around.
You shouldn't be up there in Marlo's apartment.
You gonna run my life?
Now, I told you what you shouldn't do. Here's what you're gonna do.
Look, Buster, don't prod me.
You're gonna forget all about today.
The girl forgot a lot of things today, and she dropped dead.
Got the idea?
Suppose I don't buy it.
You want a partner for that gun?
Dameron give you the nickel?
He gave me a dime. I got one more call to make to the city hall.
All right. Suppose I lay off.
And I got something for my piggyback.
You're no petty girl. Hang it up and get out. You know, Regan, I could have really liked you.
Yeah, Marlo, that's why I'm scared. Well, you can see how things were. I felt like a short girl with a new look. No matter how I tried to break it down, I figured to cop the leading role. A Jane Doe walks in her office and drops dead. She has a gun that probably talked to a couple of people. A cab ride receipt takes me to Bill Dameron, a guy with a talkative gun. I end up in Marlo Curtis' apartment for a lot of punctuation marks. Everybody talks but the people. Well, I knew I'd have to begin to move before homicide tagged me, so I hopped down to the Times and I checked the morgue file. I pulled the clips on Dale W. Curtis. Marlo didn't lie. He was dead. The old papers didn't mean anything, but the banner headline on the night flannel put one piece of the jigsaw in position. It told about a Treasury Department agent named Shields. They found him in Silver Lake. He'd been shot 3 times with a .32. Now I knew where Marlo's nail file fit. I started to leave when I caught the last paragraph. It said, "Unidentified man turns in the murder weapon. Police are seeking his whereabouts." Yeah.
This is Lane. I've been calling your place for 2 hours.
I just got home.
Gonna give yourself up?
Was your idea.
Who's Jane Doe?
I don't know.
Why?
You got a badge, you try.
Look, Regan, you're hot. Every prowl car in town's looking for you.
Yeah.
You better start filling this in or they're gonna get you.
Now listen, big shot, you're in this too.
Not from where I sit. I gave you the gun.
Well, send me some dough over here.
I don't have enough for your pay.
I need some money for cab fare.
No petty cash in the office.
Don't lie to me. What about that money you got out of Jane Doe's purse?
What do you mean?
She could have never got up there without cab money.
Well, she must have lost it in the elevator.
Look, I haven't got time to play games. Now send it over.
How much do you need?
$10 won't break you.
Where you going to, Yuma?
I'll expect it in an hour. Goodbye.
Hello?
Hello, Dameron.
Always like your door.
I wouldn't stop you. You'd crawl under.
Come on in, fellas. It's drafty out there in the hall.
You got a parade permit?
Rodney, say hello to Regan.
I already did on the phone.
What about Slim?
Are you croaking?
His name's Regan, isn't it, Big Mouth? Sitting right next to Rodney when he made that call to you, it was perfectly clear to me. Wasn't it clear to you, Big Mouth? Rodney told you to lay out, but you just had to get onto that newspaper, didn't you, Big Mouth? Rodney, Slim on the bed.
All right, let go.
Now, Regan, once more, they got a gun downtown. They got a dame and her prints are going to fit it. They got a stiff and that gun's going to fit him, okay? And I'll lay you off.
You said that before.
Rodney, Slim, hold his hands. Now, Regan, I know you understand me. I said all the right words. Maybe my punctuation's bad. Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. All right, leave him on the bed.
He's on the floor.
That's fine. Now he won't have to change his bedding.
Dameron was good. When I got up, my face looked like a relief map of Death Valley. He was wearing a signet ring. He left out all the water holes, but the mountain ranges were rising fast. I figured I was safe now. That guy in the personnel office had never recognized me. Well, I was standing in the kitchen giving myself the cold water treatment when somebody knocked. I figured that was a switch, so I opened the door. It was that hacky, Johnny Servey. He had an envelope in his hand. Yeah?
Hi. Remember me?
You give up cab work?
Oh, I found this under your door. Here.
Thanks.
Football?
What do you want?
Well, you asked me about a dame in a mink coat today. Now, I'm asking you.
I don't run a meter.
Well, I figure all this might help.
All of what?
Well, I get to thinking about it, see, and then I think some more.
All right, come on, get to the point, will you?
You played a hand, now I'm playing a hand.
Go on.
Well, dames mean trouble, and mink coats, they mean double trouble.
Yeah?
Is it worth $5 if I remember another guy?
Maybe.
Well, he's all over the papers now. I seen him.
Who?
Shields, the guy they fished out of Silver Lake.
Where?
He was out in Burbank this morning, early.
I thought you were at Pomona.
I was, but... Well, I guess I wasn't exactly cruising. I got a friend lives out that way. Know what I mean?
When was this?
An hour before I picked her up. This guy they find in Silver Lake is walking around that house. I'm looking for a store for breakfast.
I'll let you eat.
Well, that's it. After breakfast, I hop in my cab, and that's when I pick up the dame at Mink.
Why'd you bring me all this?
Well, I figure we got somewhere this time. How do I get my tip?
I gave him his $5 and he left. Then I opened the envelope he'd handed me. It was the money that I'd asked the Lion to send over. 2 $5 bills. Well, I looked at it, put it back in the envelope, stuck it in my pocket. So far, all I could see that I got out of this thing was a good beating from Dameron. The question still stood, who was Jane Doe? Well, I knew my next move. I wanted to hop over to the Treasury Department and see if my 2 matched their 2, and maybe between us we could come up with 4. I didn't have much to go on. It was just a hunch. I took Marlowe's nail file with me, and I walked in the front door of the Federal Building. I showed my license to the chief agent.
That's right, one of our agents, Shields. They have the murder weapon down at Homicide.
I know.
All we want is the man that pulled the trigger.
Well, I got an idea.
I'll listen.
What's wrong with these $5 bills?
You can't spend them.
I figured that.
Where'd you get them?
How bad are they?
Lousy paper, rotten ink, terrible engraving job. You could do better with a rubber stamp outfit. Where'd you get them?
Any of these been floated?
We picked up a few.
Was Shields working on it?
That's as much as I can give you. Now, where'd you get them?
Well, a girl faded out in our office this morning.
She was carrying them?
Yeah.
What's her name?
That's what I got to find out.
Oh, Jane Doe, huh?
Well, that's what we called her.
So does the paper. Same girl?
Yeah, that's her. Any identification?
Not yet. They've been running a picture for hours.
Well, I'm short on time.
You're the guy.
Wait a minute before you hit that button.
Yeah?
Your addition's good, but you haven't got all the figures.
Don't make book on that. You're the number 1 boy with me.
You think I'd solo in here?
You might.
No, I got an ace.
All right, so you keep your nails clean.
Now, look at it.
It's a nail file.
They cut dum-dums out of Shields.
Who told you?
A second-story apartment with a deep floor.
How did you know?
You're holding the file that cut the grooves.
You use it?
I can give you the guy who did.
Dum-dum makes a big hole.
Half shield.
Through the tip of a 32 slug, it'll spread from here to Kansas when it hits.
You can do it with a nail file.
Maybe. Where's that apartment?
No, I'm too close to quit now.
I can't let you go alone.
I got a big car.
Now, before we go, mister, if no one belongs to that file, you belong to the gun.
In that case, I'll have a lot of time to do my nails. Well, it was a long shot, but that's all I had. The agent just sat there on the way over. He didn't say a word. Well, I figured he didn't believe me, but it was a short drive to find out. We hit Manzanita Street just after the dinner time rush. It was quiet, and everybody was eating or they'd gone out for the evening. We climbed the stairs to Marlowe Curtis' apartment. I told the agent I wanted to go in alone. He didn't like the idea, but I explained to him that I expected friends and somebody should cover me from the outside. Oh, she looked even prettier than I remembered her. One tear was just about ready to take that last plunge across her cheek.
What do you want?
I brought you a paper.
I've seen it.
You know the girl?
Yes.
What's her name?
Too late.
For you, maybe. I gotta know.
You wouldn't understand.
Try me.
You're still looking for things.
No, not this trip.
You didn't think I could cry, did you?
No.
I learned.
Weeping over a nail file?
I said you wouldn't understand.
It split a slug in a treasury agent.
I don't know.
Well, I do, sis. You filed the grooves.
Shows you how many times you can be wrong in one day, Regan.
Kind of cramped behind that screen, Dameron?
Small apartment.
Yeah.
Always wanted to get the girls a bigger one, but Marlowe's getting tried.
You're wrong, Dameron. Not anymore.
You've been around Regan too long, Marlowe. Now you got a mouth just like his. Big.
I just figured out what he's been trying to do.
You putting brains on the market, too?
The Jane Doe he's been looking for was Evelyn.
Your sister could have been a rich woman.
Not with the kind of money you printed.
You're playing this scene for her.
I didn't count on murder.
Evelyn forgot things.
You killed her.
It was no good. She couldn't tell the 5s from the 10s.
I'm going to identify her.
You know where that leaves me?
Sure I do. And I'm going now.
You'll have to walk through this Luger.
Is that the same gun he used on the Treasury agent?
You and Regan hardly got acquainted, didn't he tell you? Your sister did that for me.
You're lying.
That's Regan.
The nail file.
That's right. Dum-dums. Evelyn wanted to be sure.
Rotten. Now get out of my way.
Marlowe, don't try it.
I'm going out that door.
Not standing up.
It was a real photo finish. Just as Dameron pulled the trigger, the agent kicked the door open and threw a couple of fast ones into him. I'd call it a dead heat, but you'd have to give the agent the edge. His first slug cut Dameron down like a blade of grass. I figured the second was for shield. Marlowe wasn't in a hurry anymore.
Regan.
I'll call the doctor.
Don't bother. I thought too big now.
You're hurt, baby.
No. I got bigger. I almost made it.
Was a good try.
How's Dameron?
He's all used up.
Good. Regan. Do you think I'm as bad as him?
No, baby. You just played on the wrong team. He was... Let's go. Yeah. From here on, it's a monologue. Well, it was hard to figure. It was like trying to throw a saddle on a porpoise. I gave what I had to homicide, and it unbuttoned something like this. The girl who pulled a quick exit in the office, Jane Doe, was Marlowe's sister, Evelyn. She was front man for Dameron's bad money. She helped him pass it. The Treasury agent, Shields, got a little too close, so Evelyn pumped a couple of dum-dums into him. She did it for Dameron, and then he slipped her the poison. He figured the stuff would work faster, but she lived long enough to take that taxi ride to the office. Well, it didn't begin to make sense until I got down to personnel. I didn't think to check it before, but when I handed the clerk that gun, I noticed the tip of the slugs were grooved. Then over at Marlowe's, I picked up that nail file. It was full of lead filings. From there on, it was a fast reel. Dameron filled in the rest in the fight with Marlowe. Yeah, well, too bad about Marlowe. We might have had something. That's what I don't like about this business. You can't build friendships.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy. The role of Bill Dameron was played by Charles McGraw. Yvonne Patey was Marlowe Curtis. Marvin Miller was the Treasury agent. David Ellis, Stacey Harris, Lou Krugman, and Bernice Barrett supported. Original music for this program is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard every Saturday over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. An organized gang of pickpockets is working in your city. None of the victims can give a description of the suspects. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Get them.
It was Tuesday, May 10th. We were working the day watch out of Bunko Fugitive Division, pickpocket detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from communications, and it was 11:14 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunko.
No?
Yeah.
Anything come in from St. Louis?
Yeah, they checked the Carney's plan back there. No trace of Beck.
Trip was wrong then, huh?
Yeah, looks like it.
Where to now?
Well, about all we can do is sit and wait for a reply on the radiogram. He's got to be someplace, and he isn't going to stop working. There'll be word on him somewhere.
I'll be glad when we turn the key.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
I wonder if you could help me.
Well, we'll try, sir. You want to come on in? What's it all about?
I've been robbed.
Sir?
They took my money, all of it, every bit. I don't know how, but they took it all. I don't know what to do.
Well, do you want to sit down?
Yes, please. I don't know how they did it. I tried to be so careful, but they took it all. 37 years doing without, and now I got nothing.
Well, this is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday. Maybe if you tell us what happened here, we could help you.
Yes, maybe. I'm Louis Bonning.
Yes, sir.
I live at 1820 Woodward Court, Los Angeles, 12. I have a room there.
I see.
$14 a week in privileges.
If you tell us what happened, Mr. Bonning, we might be able to do something for you.
And I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to think of what happened. I don't believe it yet.
Oh, now, you said you were robbed. Is that right?
Yes. $5,200. All gone.
Well, were you held up?
No, nothing like that. If it was that way, I'd know. But just all of a sudden, I put my hand in my pocket to feel the money, and it wasn't there. Nothing was there. I had a pocket full of empty.
Now, sir, do you usually carry that much money around with you?
No, mister. I got it from the bank this morning. I'm going away. I was leaving Los Angeles. That's why I had the money, so I could leave.
All right, sir. Suppose you start right at the beginning and tell us the whole story, will you?
Well, my wife passed on 4 weeks ago, Monday, April 4th. Yeah, that's when it happened, April 4th.
Uh-huh.
We came to this country when we were both young. She died 4 weeks ago.
Yes, sir. If you'd go on about the theft, please.
Well, I thought I'd maybe go back to Chicago to live with one of my daughters. She asked me to come, and I thought I would, so I drew out the money.
You took the money out of the bank?
Yes, this morning. $5,200. It's what we'd saved. I couldn't leave it here in the bank if I was going to be in Chicago.
Well, you could have had the money transferred, you know.
Well, I guess that's what I should have done, but it's too late now.
Did you have the money when you left the bank?
Yes. I rolled the bills up and put them here in my pocket. Here, this one on the left side. I kept my hand on the money, so I knew it was there.
Now, what'd you do after you left the bank?
Well, I was going home. I thought I'd walk home. I went down the street, and then I thought I'd stop for some coffee. I was all packed at my room, so I didn't want to make a mess. So I thought I'd have a cup of coffee out.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the big market. They have a coffee counter there, and I went in and sat down. All the time I kept my hand on the money. I could feel it through the pants. It was in my pocket.
Yes, sir.
I had the coffee, and then I went to go out of the market. As I walked through all the people, a box fell off a stack of boxes and almost hit me. I didn't think anything about it. Nobody was hurt. All the people in the market came over to me and asked if I was all right, but I said yes, I was all right. Then I went out of the market. I got on the street. When I remembered about the money, it was gone.
Now, it had been taken from you in the market, is that right?
Yes, mister. It was in the market, I think.
Well, let's get this straight. While you were in there, did anyone bump into you?
I don't understand.
I mean, anyone jostle you, bump into you without reason?
No, I don't remember.
Did anybody follow you from the bank to the market that you noticed?
It was hard to tell, mister. There are a lot of people on the streets. It would be hard to tell if there was anyone.
Yes, sir, I understand. But was there any one person you recall having seen this morning? One face that you might remember, maybe?
No, mister. I tried to think about it, but there's no one.
I see.
Do you think you'll get it back for me?
Sir?
The money. It makes a big difference.
How's that?
Before, when I had the money, I could go and live with my daughter. With the money, I could be independent. It would be a different feeling. You understand, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
That's why it's so important you get the money back, so I can go live with my daughter. So I can do that. That's the only reason I trouble you. The only reason I have to ask you to find the man.
That's the only reason I got it.
That's a little different with us, sir.
Huh?
We've got another one. For the past several weeks, we've been getting reports of the existence of an organized gang of pickpockets working in Los Angeles. Contrary to most opinion, a pickpocket seldom works alone. Like everything else, it's gotten to be a highly specialized operation. Normally, there are several men to each team. The jug mob, who usually spends his time in banks looking for the victim. The shover, who pushes or bumps the victim so his money can be taken. And the wire, who does the actual pocket picking. In certain types of operation, the jug mob is replaced by the short, who works streetcars and spots people who have large amounts of money. Under normal circumstances, a professional group of pickpockets can take approximately $5,000 a day out of a tip or a crowd. 11:47 a.m. We had the victim, Louis Bonning, look through the pictures of known pickpockets for a possible identification of the man who'd taken his money. He was unable to find anybody who looked familiar. We told him to go home, and we said that we'd be in touch with him. 12:35 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
It's a rough one, huh?
Yeah, they all come out that color, don't they? I sure hope we can do some good for him.
Yeah, nice old guy.
You want to get in touch with Slim Ramos? Let's go down and talk to him. He might be able to come up with something.
Yeah, I'll get his number. Get a new book. This one's getting almost impossible to use.
Yeah.
Look at this. Numbers all crossed out. You know when they change the prefixes?
Yeah.
Sure made a mess out of my book. Here it is. Extra. 4. Slim Ramos there? Hey, Slim, this is Frank Smith. Yeah. Good. Yeah, say, Slim. Now, wait a minute. No, the reason I called you, Joe and I'd like to come down and talk to you if it's okay. You going to be there this afternoon? Uh-huh. No, nothing wrong. Just a couple of things we want to check over with you. Yeah. Okay. See you around 2:30, huh? Is that all right? Yeah. Okay. No, I know where it is. Right. See you then. He's going to be in all afternoon. Said he'd be glad to see us.
Good. Maybe he's got something we can use on this thing.
Well, he'll lay it out for us if he has.
Well, it's the one good thing about starting with nothing in it.
Yeah.
We can only go one way. 12:06 p.m. Frank and I checked out of the office and we started for Santa Monica. Slim Ramos had been one of the best pickpockets in the business. He'd been arrested and served a term in San Quentin. After he'd been paroled, he'd opened a small stand on one of the amusement piers near the beach. From his past record, Ramos had been cooperative with the police department, and several arrests were attributed to his information. Ramos was operating a Wheel of Fortune booth at the end of the pier. Frank and I parked the car and walked out.
Quite a place, huh?
Yeah.
I got to bring the kids down here some Sunday. They get a real kick out of it.
Yeah. That's Slim's booth there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see him.
He said he'd be here.
He might be around back.
Yeah. I'd sure like to win one of those hams.
Yeah.
Big ones, aren't they?
Uh-huh. Slim, you around?
Yeah, hold on. Be right out. Hi, Joe, Frank.
Hi, how are you?
I was in the back packaging some groceries.
Uh-huh.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you about a cannon operation.
Yeah, I should have known. Come on back here. We can sit down.
All right.
Hey, watch your heads on the counter.
Yeah.
Got a couple of chairs back here. Come on, I can finish up the sacking.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, what's it about?
You got any rumbles about a bunch working the downtown area?
What kind of operation?
Jug mob?
Seems like I heard something about a bunch coming in from the east. KC, I think. Seems I heard they worked a couple of still dates with a carny back there. Boss didn't know they were working. When he found out, he had them kicked off the lot.
You got any names for us?
No, not right off. Gonna check around. Might be able to come up with them. What's the bit?
Yeah, they've been scoring good working the downtown area. Took an elderly man for his life savings this morning.
Uh-huh. Figures.
Huh?
They always pick on the elderly ones. Bump into a young guy, might give you trouble. Pick the old ones, they don't seem to notice it.
Yeah. How you been doing, Slim?
Oh, good. Got it real good. I ain't killing the world, but my rent's paid. I know there ain't going to be a fuzz on my tail tonight. I got it real good.
How long you been here now?
Oh, guess it's been about a year. Thought if I could get permission, I might go out with a carny this year. You know, with the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Got a letter from a friend that's got a grind store with one of the big ones. He says he might be able to get me in.
A grind store?
Yeah, you know, everybody plays, everybody wins. Pay a dime to win a piece of slum worth maybe a couple of cents. Well, this carny I might go with's got no grift in the front end, all percentage games. The way I figured, if you go out with a good one, the weather hole's going to do all right.
You figure you can come out better than you do here?
Oh, sure. You see, we get a real good play over the weekends. Regular days, it's kind of slow. Go out with a big carny, you can draw crowds anytime if the weather's good. Bound to come out better.
Mm-hmm. You'll check into those names for us, will you, Slim?
Yeah, I'll make a couple of calls.
Can you make them now?
No, I'll have to get in touch with the guys tonight. I'll get back to you first thing in the morning.
All right, fine.
Same number, Michigan 5211?
That's right, Bunko Fugitive.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you a call. Buy you guys a cup of coffee?
No, thanks, Slim. We're just going to eat. You want to come along? We'll buy you one.
Okay. Now, hold on while I check with Harry. Have him keep an eye on things.
All right.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
Now, watch the counter. I came up too fast the other day, like took all the skin off my back.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. I'll be right back.
All right.
Nice-looking place, huh?
Yeah. He's painted it since we were down here last time.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
You painted up the place, huh, Slim?
Yeah, thought I might turn a bigger tip if the place looked good. You know, people like a clean-looking place.
How are the rest of the booths doing down here, Slim?
Oh, pretty good. I told you. Great. Other times a little slow.
Uh-huh. Any grift down here?
No, at least if there is, I haven't heard of it. Guy in the Santa Monica Police Department, Lieutenant Cunningham, he keeps the place real clean.
Yeah, that's right.
Last thing I heard about was a guy who was working with a camelback wheel.
A what?
Camelback. Like mine, only this was gaffed.
How?
Smoothest pitch around. The arrow is connected to a spindle. Spindle goes through a stand. Looks like there'd be no way to G it. Plain pipe. Looks clean.
What's the gimmick?
Well, the frame rests on 4 pins. Pins are supposed to be what anchors it to the counter.
Uh-huh.
Now, 3 of the pins go into one piece of the counter. They really do hold the wheel in place. The other one goes through a separate piece of wood on the booth side of the counter. There's a space between the board on the booth side and the one the 3 legs go through.
Yeah.
Now, the pin in the 4th leg is loose. It's connected with a bunch of levers inside the pipe, acts as a brake on the wheel. All the operator has to do is lean against the board, and he's got complete control of the wheel all the time.
Well, that's a real nice deal, isn't it?
Yeah, the way they figured, it's perfect. In case they get a cowboy in the crowd, the mark can pick the wheel right up out of the counter. Shows that there's no wires running to it. The wheel's gaffed, and there's no way to prove it. Set it up with a couple of sticks in front, let them win a couple of times, you got it made. That's the way they figure it. Doesn't work out, though.
Well.
Now, like on my wheel, I got 120 numbers on it. Figure I get good action, I'm going to have maybe half of them covered. Right off, the odds are on my side.
Uh-huh.
Out of the rest, there's only one winner. Half of them covered means a gross of about $6. I give away $5 worth of groceries. Even with a winner, I come out every time. Percentages prove it. Look at it that way, you don't need a gaff wheel.
Yeah, it's too bad more of them don't figure it like that. So.
Yeah, I suppose. Took me a long time to find it out.
Yeah, but you came up with the answers.
I hope I can do the same for you on the cannon operation.
So do we.
It's funny. I get to thinking when I was working as a wire, how we figured that any time we could lift a poke from the mark was a big laugh. A lot of difference now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now I sleep nights.
2:15 p.m. We continued to talk to our informant, Slim Ramos. He said that he didn't know the name of the carnival the possible suspects had been fired from. He said that he'd call some of his contacts and try to get the information for us. We set up a time for him to get in touch with us, and then Frank and I drove back to the office. We contacted Captain Didion and made arrangements for additional men to be assigned to help us. Sergeants John DeBetta and Danny Gilmore were asked to aid us in a search of the market where the victim had been robbed. We spent the next 3 hours in the market looking at the crowd in the hopes that we'd see a known pickpocket or even see a wire in operation, but the surveillance netted us nothing. We made arrangements for the victim's bank to be watched the following morning. 6:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the squad room.
Place sure does a good business, doesn't it?
What?
The market, Joe. A lot of people go in there.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Well, I was just thinking. I guess it comes down to the point where the only way to hang on to your money is to carry it in your hand and keep your fist closed.
It's darn close. I was talking with Lieutenant Jack Swan. He was telling me a guy came in here from Nebraska, came in by bus.
Yeah.
He was sitting in the station waiting for a coach to take him up north. Had all his money in his shoe.
In his shoe?
Yeah. Had it in his left shoe. Had the money all flat so we could walk on it. Figured it'd be safe there.
Well, wasn't it?
No. Dozed off for a minute. The next thing he knows, shoe's off and the money's gone.
How would anybody know where it was?
I don't know. The guy that took it found it, though. Guy dozed off for a minute, loses his shoe and all his money.
Anything turn up on it?
No.
I get it. Bunko Fugitive Friday. Yeah. Yeah, Slim. Mm-hmm. What was that name again? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did he say about it? Yeah, wait a minute. Frank?
Yeah. Here you go.
Let me have a pencil, too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, Slim, go ahead. Was it with a K? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What? O-L-C? C is in Charlie. O-T-T. Right. You know where they stand. Uh-huh. All right. Well, give us a call if anything more turns up, huh? Right. Okay, Slim. Thanks a lot. Right. Bye.
How do you do?
Well, pretty good. 3 names of the guys who worked the Kearney and KC.
Yeah?
Slim talked to a friend, got the information that the guys who work in the downtown area have been scoring real good.
Say where we could find them?
No, he's going to try to get the address for us.
Well, we took a big jump just knowing who they are.
Deal now is to make it work.
What do you mean?
Well, Slim says his bunch is pretty hinky. They're playing it real careful.
Yeah.
Word's out they got 2 more big scores to make, and then they're going to leave town.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The 3 names our informant had given us were Howard Kremer, Victor Leiden, and Edward Alcott. We had the names checked through our record bureau, but we found that none of the 3 men had been arrested in Los Angeles. We got a radiogram off to the police department in Kansas City, the last place the trio was known to have worked. We asked that all information on the thieves be forwarded to us. We also sent a teletype to George Brereton up at Sacramento, CII, asking him to check the names for us. The following morning, Wednesday, May 11th, we got word from Kansas City that the officials there were forwarding mugshots and descriptions of the 3 men. During the day, Frank and I met with Captain Didion, and a surveillance of the downtown area banks was set up. On Friday morning, when Frank and I checked into work, a special delivery letter was waiting for us. In it, we found the records and pictures of Kremer, Leiden, and Alcott. The pictures were handed over to the photo lab, and they started to reproduce them. The descriptions were sent to the print shop, and MO sheets were made up. As soon as possible, the pictures and the bulletins were distributed to all bank guards in the area. Additional officers from Bunko Fugitive were placed in the vicinity. Frank and I maintained a rolling stakeout in the downtown area. At 9 p.m. Friday night, the banks closed, and we'd gotten no report that the thieves had worked. Local broadcasts were gotten out on the men, but there were no replies. Monday, May 16th. The plan was put into effect again. No results. Tuesday, the gang didn't work. Began to look as if they might have closed up operations in Los Angeles and moved on. Wednesday, May 18th, Frank and I came back from lunch. I get it. Bunko Fugitive Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Where? Right. No, don't do anything to let them know. Right. Well, let's go.
Something good?
The shover, bank guard, just spotted him. The call had come from a bank at the corner of 7th and Jackson Streets. The guard told us that he'd seen one of the suspects enter the bank and, under the pretense of filling out deposit slips, observe the withdrawals that the customers were making. It took us a little under 3 minutes to get to the address. We checked with the guard, and he pointed out the suspect. Frank pretended to make out a deposit slip while I waited at the new account desk. When we entered the bank, the suspect was standing at the teller's window. In front of him was an elderly man. As the line moved up, the suspect began to examine the slip that he'd made out. Then, as the elderly man took his turn at the window, the suspect walked away and stopped by the door. He waited for the man to finish his business at the teller's counter. Then, as he passed through the door, the suspect fell and stepped behind him. Frank and I followed him down the street. As he walked through the crowds, he was joined by Edward Alcott, the shover in the operation. The elderly man entered a small tobacco store, and as he went through the door, the wire, Howard Kremer, joined the other 2 suspects. As the elderly man stood at the counter waiting to be served, the shover walked over to the magazine rack. He stood looking at the magazines for a moment, and then as he turned away, he seemingly tripped and fell against the proposed victim. Both Frank and I knew it was coming. We were watching for it, and yet we missed the actual theft. The wire moved in and removed the victim's money so fast that we couldn't see it. The shover took the wallet from the wire, and the gang was ready to move on. Frank and I stepped into him. All right, Mr. Police Officers, you're under arrest. For what? Stop dreaming. You know the route. Now, come on. Beat it. All right, grab the knife. All right, mister. Come on your feet. Get up.
Get away from me, cop. Leave me alone. You're going to regret this. Shoving a citizen around. No reason for this.
How about the other 2?
They're out.
All right, let's get him downtown.
How about the victim?
No, he left when the beat started. Better try to catch him.
Yeah. You're going to be sorry for this. You wait. You're going to be real sorry shoving an honest citizen around.
Yeah, that's the trouble with you punks.
What do you mean?
You're wrong on both counts. The 3 suspects were taken into custody and brought downtown. The victim's wallet was found on the person of Edward Alcott. It was identified by the owner and booked as evidence. 3:15 p.m. We took the wire, Howard Kremer, to the interrogation room.
Sit down, Kramer.
Yeah. All right, you want to give us a statement? For what? Come off it. You know what we're talking about.
You got to have me cross with somebody else. I'm trying to level with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
You want us to lay it out for you?
I don't care much either way. You guys slam into a store where I'm trying to buy a pack of cigarettes, and all of a sudden I got handcuffs on. You tell me I'm hooked for being a pickpocket.
That's the way you want to tell it, huh?
There ain't any other words.
Your two friends tell it different.
What two friends?
Two fellas we picked up with you?
This is a big town. A lot of people. You walk into a store, you don't ask who's standing next to you.
They put the whole deal on you.
Who?
Lyden and Alton.
Never heard them.
How long do you figure you're going to keep this up, mister?
As long as it takes to get you on my side.
They don't build days that long.
That's your loss. I'm a nice fellow if you take the time to get to know me.
All right, Kramer, this is way off the road. Now, maybe you got all day, we haven't. You can either give it to us here and now, or we can drop you into a cell and let you wait it out.
You put me in a tank and I'll be out in half an hour.
How many times have you been arrested?
Who says there was a first?
How many times?
You got the books, look it up.
We asked you a question.
So I'm not a genius. I got trouble with addition.
Take everything out of your pockets.
What?
Come on.
For why?
Now, look, you're running out of funny time here, Kramer.
Then you better ring the bell, because I'll need more of it.
You got a job?
Yeah, I'm a president of a bank.
You're going way out on this, Kramer.
I like the scenery.
You work?
Yeah.
Where?
Round, no special place.
What do you do?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Whatever people can afford.
All right, now, come on, put your things on the table right now.
You can sign a receipt?
They aren't going to be taken from you. We want to see what you're carrying.
Okay. You boys deserve a break, but I'll tell you now, the numbers on my phone book are mine. Don't go near them.
Come on, get it up.
Here's my wallet. Handkerchief, comb, nail clippers, some change. A couple of ticket stubs from a movie. A lousy picture. Cigarette lighter, that's it.
You got any money in that wallet?
Yeah.
How much?
I don't know. I don't pay much attention to how much I'm carrying.
You can't even come close to how much you got.
No.
Take it out and count it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Comes out to $3,700.
You must do real good at that salesman's job.
Company pays big commissions.
All right, put the money in your pocket.
Why don't you put it in yours?
What'd you say?
Look, cop, I've been around. I've been with most of the carnies in the country one time or another. I know the score. There ain't a place in the world that the fix can't be put in. Now, why don't you just take the money? You drop it in your pocket, and I'll forget I was ever in here. Won't be nobody hurt. The old guy's may be out a couple of $100, but so what? He won't miss it. Why not put the fix and we'll both come out all right?
No, the fix just curdled, Kramer.
What?
You said we had the record. Well, you called it. We got all the word about you. Way down the line, you talk about how you worked with carnies. How long?
Huh?
What's the longest time you ever stayed with one outfit?
I like to move.
Yeah, sure you do. That's the way the people who run the show want it. Decent carny doesn't want a guy like you around. You or anybody like you. You've been on the road taking money away from people who can't afford it for a long time. Now we nail you, and you come in here acting like a big man. You do the indignant bit, and then when that doesn't work, you try to buy your way out. Well, you've had it, mister. We know it, and your two buddies know it. When are you going to take a good look?
You really figure you've got it made, huh?
We know we have.
The other two guys really cop out?
The whole thing. All comes down to how you engineered it.
You buy what they say?
We buy it.
Uh-huh. Then there isn't much more for me to say, is there?
Not a great deal, no.
Okay, let's go.
How about a statement?
Why?
Make it easier on yourself.
Easier if I cop out?
You know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Bring the girl in. I'll give you a statement.
Frank.
Yeah.
You mind if I have a smoke?
What was that?
I said, you mind if I have a smoke?
No, go ahead.
Wild one, isn't it?
What?
Had it all down so pat. Good shover, better jug mouth. I'll sit in the front row with any wire in the business. All that, and it don't add up to a win.
That's like you said.
Huh?
You got trouble with addition.
Howard Nathan Kremer, Edward Francis Alcott, and Victor Frederick Lyden were tried and convicted on 6 counts of grand theft money and received sentence as prescribed by law. Grand theft money is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A gang has hijacked and robbed a bank truck. They've stolen over $100,000. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Get them. During this holiday season, young America, all of us, will be concentrating on our favorite winter sports: ice skating, bowling, basketball, skiing. One thing you'll notice: whatever young America does, wherever it goes, Chesterfield goes along. Yes, Chesterfield is the choice of young America. Chesterfield is the choice of more thousands of smokers everywhere. People are learning the facts about Chesterfield, learning that Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine, learning that Chesterfield is really mild, really satisfying. So how about it, friends? Change to Chesterfield yourself. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, June 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the business office, and it was 10:52 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Did you get him?
Yeah, here's the gun.
You got the double-aught buck?
Yeah, Jack. Here you go. Any word yet?
No, we ought to be hearing pretty quick.
Nothing from Herman and Benson, huh?
Last we got from them, they were over on Hobart.
No action there?
Nothing.
I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, ma'am. That's right. Well, when was this? No, that's a burglary. If you'll hold on just a minute, I'll have you switch them. Yes, ma'am. Hold on just 1 minute. Would you give this call to 2524, please? That's right, burglary. Thank you. Woman who wants somebody to come out and talk to her about her husband's work pants being taken from the clothesline.
You should have gone out.
Yeah. You got a cigarette? I'm fresh out.
Here you are. Got a man?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, you might as well sit down. Take it easy. You got no idea how long we're going to be here.
Guess so. You know, I'm still not real sure about how this tip came in. You want to fill me in?
Call came through this afternoon. Man refused to give his name. Just said he had some information he thought we'd like to have.
No idea who it was, huh?
No. Said it wasn't important. Went on to say that he could tell us where to pick up the men who held up the bank truck.
Well,
I figured it might be a crank, so I asked him how we could be sure the story was true.
How'd he answer that?
Said he could prove it. Said he had some of the serial numbers on the stolen bills.
Could check out?
Yep. Gave me the numbers from 10 of the 20s. I checked the serial numbers. They're good.
And that's when he said he'd call back, huh?
Yeah, said he'd call tonight around 10 and give us the address where we could pick up the men.
It's late now. About an hour.
Yeah. But he knows what he's talking about. We got to be here when the phone rings.
No way of getting an ID on him, huh?
None.
What'd he say about the men? They heavy?
From the way he tells it, they're loaded. Got all the guns and ammunition they need to hold out for a week.
He knows that. Why couldn't he give us the address this afternoon?
He said he wanted to put a lot of distance between him and the rest of them.
See how many there were?
Not right out. The way he talked, though, we figure there's 3.
Any names?
No, said he'd tell us where to pick them up. Said when we blew the whistle, they'd tell us.
I'd be a little tight taking then, huh?
If the way they handle the guards on the truck is any indication, it isn't going to be a picnic.
How many men we got?
Herman and Benson, we can call them in. Murph and Rafferty, Stewart and Creasy.
Where are they now?
Well, I saw Murph and Raff down at the business office just a minute ago. Said they'd be right in. I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, it is. Where? Yeah, put him through. Call from San Francisco. Operator says station to station.
Might be our boy.
Huh. You'd have to fly up north to get her this fast.
Airlines don't ask for recommendations when they sell a ticket.
Wait just a minute. This Friday. Who's this? Okay, if that's the way you want it. Yeah. Give me that address. All right, let me read that back to you. 1657 Garfield Place, apartment 408. Is that right? Okay. Why don't you tell us your name and won't do any... Hello? Hello? Oh, he hung up.
I'll have the business office get on it, see if they can come up with a number. You got the address?
Yeah, I got that. Here. The way he put it, job might be tougher than we figured.
What do you mean?
Well, I asked him his name. I told him it wouldn't make any difference if he told us.
Yeah?
He said it'd make a lot of difference. Said they'd kill him if they found out that he faked on them.
That figures.
Yeah. Said that when he reads in the papers that they're dead, then he'll come in.
When they're dead?
Yeah. Says we won't take him alive. 10 days previously, on Thursday, May 26th, 3 men had stopped an armored truck on its way to the Federal Reserve Bank. The truck had stopped for collection on Wilshire Boulevard. The 3 hold-up men had approached the truck and produced sawed-off 12-gauge shotguns. At gunpoint, 2 of the men forced the drivers to go out to the San Fernando Valley. The third followed in another car. On a side road south of Ventura Boulevard, the suspects had tied and then beaten the driver and the guard. The 2 men were placed in the back of the truck, and after stealing all of the cash in the vehicle, the thieves had driven off. As soon as the theft was discovered, men from the Federal Bureau of Investigation were notified. Together with them, Frank and I followed down every lead. The crime lab went over the truck but found nothing that would help us in getting to the thieves. Latent fingerprints were able to come up with nothing. The driver of the truck and the guard had been shown the mug books, but they were unable to make an identification. The method of operation was checked through the stats office, but when the leads that developed were checked out, we were in the same position as when we first got the call. We had no idea of who the thieves might be. Descriptions obtained from the 2 victims were broadcast to the entire nation, but there were no kickbacks. The FBI weighed and sifted all evidence in its Washington headquarters, but they came up with the same results we had. Nothing. The phone call from the informant was the first concrete lead that we'd gotten. There were 9 men from Robbery Division and 3 teams from the FBI in the operation. From the information we had, we knew the suspects were armed and they were dangerous. The people in the building were gotten out of their apartments. The building itself was completely surrounded. 1:36 a.m. We moved in.
Boys in the street are set. Let's go.
All right. Did you check the manager?
Yep. Descriptions of the men in the apartment match the one we got from the driver. The truck checks out to be the same guy.
The manager say how many there were?
3. She's not sure they're all in.
All right.
Sounds like somebody's moving around in there.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Police officer, stand still.
What are you doing in here?
You here alone?
Yeah, alone. What are you looking for, convention?
Where are the other 2?
What 2?
Nobody else, Joe.
Closet over there looks like an arsenal. Loaded with guns. A couple of sawed-off shotguns.
You guys got no right to come in here like this. I don't know what you're looking for, but you ain't going to find
What's your name?
Hank Peterson.
You rent this apartment with 2 other guys. Manager tells us that they're Harvey Fitzgerald and Lou Colton. Is that right?
Yeah, they live here.
Where are they now?
I don't know. Out. Maybe to a movie. I don't know.
When do you expect them back?
Well, look, they're big fellas now. They don't have to get me to sign a report card. They do what they want. They went out. I don't know where. They didn't tell me. They also didn't tell me when they'd be back. What's this all about?
Where'd you get those guns in the closet?
They don't belong to me.
Who do they belong to?
One of the guys.
Which one?
Why are you coming in here and asking all these questions? I ain't done nothing. You got no beef with me. I don't know anything about the guns. Maybe Lou likes to hunt. I don't know.
They belong to Colton, huh?
Yeah, he brought them.
You don't know where he is now?
I told you. If I knew where he was, I'd tell you. I don't want any trouble. I don't like to have people pointing guns at me. Would you put that one away?
Turn around.
What?
I said turn around. Get over to the wall. Put your hands up on it.
Big deal. What happens now? You kick my feet out and I fall down?
Stand still.
I'll get it, Joe.
You ain't going to find nothing on me. I tell you I'm clean.
Nice try, Peterson. Here's a .38 Colt. Joe had it in his belt.
You go around pretty heavy for a fellow that doesn't want trouble, don't you?
I carry a lot of money. Sometimes I think some guys are trying to take it away from me. I got to protect myself.
Yeah.
Anybody's got the right to protect himself.
Yeah, you got a permit for this gun?
No, I didn't get around to it yet. I'm going to, though, right away. I'll get one. You know how it is. You mean to do something, but you forget. Hey, can I stand up straight now?
Yeah.
Come on, Peterson. Get your hands behind you.
Maybe you guys will tell me what this is for. What are you looking for?
We'll tell you downtown.
Well, you know you're making a big mistake.
Is that right?
Well, sure, you really call this one wrong. You're dragging in an innocent man. I'm clean. I made a mistake when I didn't register the gun. I'll cop to that, but that's the edge. I don't go past there.
No, you got it wrong, Peterson.
Read me how.
We got you going in for the bank truck robbery. You and your 2 friends, you're going to stand for it.
Keep talking about my 2 friends. I got no friends. I move in with a couple of fellas. Now, all of a sudden, I got a piece of some action they're shoving. You got it wrong, cop.
You aren't going to tell us you happened to be here at the wrong time, are you?
Look, I'm from Chicago. I got a lead on a job out here. It gets cold in Chicago in the wintertime. I don't like the cold. Get a lead on a job out here in California, so I put an ad in the paper telling how I'd like to drive out with the guy, share expenses. The fellow that answers the ad wants to leave when I got to go is Lou Colton. I took a third of the tab driving out. We got into town. He's got this apartment lined up, this one right here. I got no place to stay, so he says for me to pad down with him. That's it. The beginning, the middle, the end. Anything outside of that, I don't know. If you got trouble with Lou, then take it up with him, but don't make me fit in. I got no part of the action. I don't want any.
What about the gun?
Hmm?
The gun you had on you.
I tried to explain that. I meant to get a permit for it. I didn't get around to it yet.
What about the ones in the closet?
Well, talk to Lou. They belong to him. Maybe he's going to open a museum.
All right. Let's get out of here.
Come on, let's go.
Look what you did to the door, breaking it up like that. No reason. All you had to do was knock. Landlady's going to be pretty sore about it. I'd have let you in if you'd have knocked. Breaking up a door like that, she's going to be real sore. Probably won't talk to me.
Well, it's going to be a while before she's got the chance. While Frank and I took Henry Peterson downtown, the other officers from robbery maintained the surveillance on the apartment. Because of the construction of the building, it was impossible to wait inside of the room. However, all of the entrances were covered. 2:40 a.m. We checked the suspect through R&I, but we found that he had no record in Los Angeles. His fingerprints were taken and forwarded to Washington for checking. He was printed and mugged and then placed in a cell in the felony section at the main jail. The rest of that night, the watch on the apartment continued without results. The following morning, Frank and I met with Lieutenant Smyers at a special show-up of the suspect for the driver and the guard of the armored car. Without hesitation, they both stated positively that Peterson was one of the men who'd held them up. The kickback arrived from Washington with the information that Peterson was wanted for escape from the state penitentiary in New Jersey. He'd been convicted on a charge of murder and robbery and given a life sentence. The record showed that he'd escaped from the prison on Friday, May 9th, 2 weeks before the truck had been robbed. 4:15 p.m. We had him brought from his cell, and Frank and I talked to him in the interrogation room at the main jail.
You got a cigarette?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Here's a match.
What do we got going?
Same thing. We want to know about the robbery of that armored car.
You figure there's something I could tell you on it, huh?
We wouldn't be here otherwise.
I'll make you a deal.
We don't make them.
No, hear me out. You might go for this.
We can't promise you anything.
You're asking me to come over to your side. Seems like you'd be willing to come a little closer to the line.
What do you got to say?
How bad you got me nailed?
As deep as it can go.
For real?
That's right.
Lay it out.
All of it?
Yeah.
We got the kickback from Washington. We know you're wanted for escape. We checked the guns from the apartment. Found out they were taken in a burglary in Chicago Tuesday, May 13th.
Go ahead.
We checked with the Chicago papers. The ad you told us about asking for a ride out here, it was never run.
You guys are sure thorough.
The victims of the robbery identified your picture.
They sure?
They're sure.
No chance for a mistake?
No chance.
If I cop out, where am I going to do the time?
We don't decide that.
You think they'll send me back to Jersey?
I told you we got no say in that.
It's so cold back there. It's nice here in California. I like to stay here. Nothing you guys can do so I can take the fall in Quentin, huh?
Nothing.
Anyway, you hear it, I'm nailed, huh?
That's right.
Okay. Maybe if it's marked down that I copped out, they'll let me stay in California.
It'll be put down that way.
Okay. Where do you want me to start?
Try the beginning.
Good at places, any?
You were with the holdup, huh?
Yeah.
How about the other two?
You picked them up yet?
No. They haven't come back to the apartment.
Might be good if they didn't.
Where do you come up with that?
Heavy, real heavy.
What are their names?
Luke Colton, Harvey Fitzgerald.
Those are the names in the mailbox. Are they real?
As far as I know.
You aren't sure, huh?
No. Part of what I told you is true. I broke out of a jail in Jersey, then beat it to Chicago. Laid around for a couple of days, then started to look for some action. I was broke. I needed a score to set me up. Sitting in a bar down on State Street one night, and I met Lou and Harvey. They tipped me to the job out here.
You mean they came all the way out here to pull the one job?
Yeah. They got a rumble about how it'd be a cinch. Came out to run it off. Then they figured on going back, leaving you cops with nothing.
When were they figuring on leaving?
I don't know. This was their part of the deal. I told them going in I wanted to stay out here. Didn't make any difference to them. We all figured that if we cut up a $100,000 score, none of us was going to look bad. For all I know, they might be on the way back now.
Their clothes were still in the apartment.
You know how many suits you can buy with a third of $100,000?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, after the job, we made the split. Talked it over and decided to dig in for a few days and then take off. At least they decided to leave. Didn't say when. I told you now they might be on the way back now.
Who else knows you're in on the job?
Huh?
Outside of you three, Colton, Fitzgerald, who else knows about it?
Isn't anybody.
Well, where's your part of the money?
Got it down the bus depot. Got it in the locker down there.
How long's it been there?
Since day before yesterday. How often do they clean out them lockers?
Every 24 hours.
Well, then there's $33,000 floating around in the check room.
You got the key to the locker?
Yeah.
Where is it?
In my shoe. I got it taped with the sole inside.
You want to give it to us?
Well, no, but I don't guess there's any other way.
No.
Okay.
You spend any of the money?
You mean the stuff we stole?
That's right.
No, not a dime. Why do you ask that?
Who else might know the serial numbers on the bills?
Well, nobody. Nobody but us, and I guess the guys at the bank, they got a record of them, I guess.
How about Colton and Fitzgerald? They spend any of their part?
I don't know. You got to ask them that.
The car you drove out after the armored truck, who'd that belong to?
Colton. It's the one we drove out here in.
What kind of car is it?
Plymouth, 1952.
What model?
Sedan.
Color?
Light blue.
You know the license number?
No, I never paid any attention to it.
What state's it out of?
Illinois.
Who drove the car when you went on the holdup?
Harvey?
Fitzgerald, huh?
Yeah, he drove the car, and Lou and I went in the truck.
Either of them been arrested before?
I'm not sure, but I think Lou fell in New York. I'm not sure, though.
How about Fitzgerald?
No. At least he never said anything about it. Only way I knew about Lou is that he talked about the food in Sing Sing. That's the way I knew about him.
You know what he fell for?
Armed robbery, I think, and there was a kidnap rap, too, but he beat it.
He out clean?
I don't know.
Seems like you planned a job with two guys that you didn't know very well, doesn't it?
I was hungry and I was cold. I wasn't about to ask for a life story when they offered me a part of the action.
How'd they pick you?
I told you, I was in a bar on State. Lou and Harvey came in. Both of them were carrying a load. I was sitting there drinking beer, just the three of us in the place, and Lou was drinking pretty heavy. He gets in a beef with the barkeep, and I saw the roll he was carrying, so I figured that if I could take his side in the brawl, maybe I could make a touch. We walked out of the bar, and he offered to buy me a meal. Next thing I know, I'm on the way to California. I'm a partner in a piece of goods that looks safe.
All that time in the car, and you didn't find out anything about your two partners?
We drove straight through. And we weren't driving, we were sleeping. Anyway, I wasn't a solid member of the club. I wasn't about to get my nose mashed in for having it someplace where it didn't belong. I figured if they wanted me to know something, they'd tell me.
Did you go with them for the guns?
No. They already got notes when I fell in.
You knew they were stolen.
Guys turn up with that kind of muscle and can't come from anywhere else. Sure, I knew it was stolen.
Colton and Fitzgerald have any friends out here?
No, not in L.A.
Anywhere on the coast?
Well, I hear Lou's got some people up north.
Where?
Maybe San Francisco, Marin County, I don't know. Might even be Oakland. Somewhere around the Bay Area.
They say anything about going up there?
No. Of course, they might have. The way Lou likes to eat, coming out here, he'd go 10 miles out of the way because he knew a place that had a good chili size. Think nothing of it. Never saw anybody who liked to eat so much. Real gourmet. Only with him, it was glutton.
He mentioned any names of people he knew up north?
No, just said he had people.
Anything about the car they're driving that'd make it easy to spot?
What do you mean?
Well, like a dented fender, a scratch, anything to identify it.
Yeah, it might be something. There's a kind of scratch in the back left fender, I think. Woman backed into us on the way out here. Cut right through the metal.
You think of any reason why they might ditch the car?
No. We kept a close tab on the papers right after the job and looked to see how much you had on it. When we didn't see anything, we figured the car was all right. I don't think they'd ditch it. It'd be pretty easy to trace. Lou owns it outright. Unless he wanted to try to grab cold plates, he'd drive it like it was.
Okay. We'll get you your things, and you can come over to City Hall and make a statement.
How about the key to the locker?
Oh, yeah. There it is. Probably some money due on the package I'll have to owe you.
We'll take care of it.
Too bad, isn't it?
What's that?
$33,000. I haven't got the dough to bail out the package.
Well, it works out even.
What?
We'd have no place to spend it. An immediate APB was gotten off carrying the names and descriptions of the two suspects. Also a description of the car. A radiogram was sent to DMV at Illinois, requesting the license and description of any car registered to a Lewis Colton. While Eleanor Eastlack took Peterson's statement, Frank got in touch with the telephone company. They'd finished checking the phone call we'd gotten from San Francisco, but the information they gave led us no farther toward apprehending the suspects. The call had been made from a pay booth in the ferry terminal building. We got in touch with the FBI and filled them in on the developments. As a result of Peterson's statement, the number of men maintaining the surveillance at the apartment on Garfield Place was cut to one team working days and one team working the night watch. We put a call in to San Francisco and talked to Chief of Inspectors James English. We filled him in on what had happened. He assigned Inspectors Sutton and Zimmerman to work with us on the case. 5:46 p.m. We checked out a trip car and we left for San Francisco. It took us a little under 10 hours to drive the 405 miles between the two cities. At 4:03 a.m., we stopped in Oakland and put in a call to the San Francisco Police Department. How much? Yeah, just a minute. Frank, you got a quarter?
Yeah.
Thanks. Here you are. 264, please. Hello, this is Joe Friday. Yeah. You got a message there for me from Charlie Sutton or Jules Zimmerlin? Yeah. No, we just got in. Yeah. Oakland. What? Just a minute. You see that street sign up there?
Yeah, wait a minute. 5th and Poplar.
5th and Poplar. Yeah. No, we're coming right over. When was this? I see. Well, if Charlie calls in, tell him that we're on the way, will you? Right. Thank you. Well, we're almost too late.
What do you mean? They got a lead?
Sutton and Zimmerlin called in 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
They got the car waiting for the suspects now.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
There are good reasons why thousands of people are changing to Chesterfield every day. Why Chesterfield is the largest selling two-way cigarette in America. Why Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. What do the latest reports show about Chesterfield? Well, our research laboratory has compared it with the leading cigarettes in the country. Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine. People these days want facts. When you want people to use your product, you have to tell them what effect it has on people who do use it regularly. That's why a doctor has examined for almost 2 years a large group of Chesterfield smokers. 45% of them have, on the average, been smoking Chesterfields for well over 10 years. What is the effect on these people from smoking Chesterfield? No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses, says the doctor, from smoking Chesterfield. Consider Chesterfield's record with those smokers, with millions of other smokers throughout America. Another good reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Regular or king size, Chesterfield is best for me and best for you.
The address the business office had given me on the phone was a large garage located at the corner of Union Avenue and Lynch Streets. When Frank and I got there, we met with Inspectors Sutton and Zimmerman. They told us that when they'd gotten the APB, a call had gone out immediately to the officers in the city to be on the lookout for a 1952 blue Plymouth with a dent in the left rear fender and carrying Illinois license plates. The suspects had parked the car in a no-parking zone on O'Farrell Street between Taylor and Mason Streets. At the peak hour of traffic, the car had been towed away from the parking place and left in a garage. While it was in the garage, the information on it had been received from our department, and an immediate stakeout was placed on it. We felt reasonably sure that the suspects would return for the automobile. They had no reason to think that there might be anything wrong. The address of the garage had been left so that they might find the car. All that would be necessary to release it would be the payment of the fine for overtime parking along with the towing and garage fee. The garage itself was a large building. It provided 4 stories for parking. The suspect's car was on the basement level. We were able to keep watch on it from a small office near the exit ramp. The attendants were instructed to act as if nothing was wrong when the suspects came in. Once we knew that they were in the building, the entrances and exits would be blocked and they would be taken into custody. There was nothing to do but wait. 5:30 a.m., no sign of Colton and Fitzgerald. 6:15 a.m., Frank went out and brought back some hot coffee. 6:45, 7 a.m. People began to come into the garage to get their cars, but not the 2 suspects. The later it became, the more difficult it would be for us to take the 2 men into custody. If there was going to be any shooting, we'd be in a bad position with civilians in the range of fire. 7:30, 8, 8:04 a.m. Somebody coming down there. Yeah.
You see who it is?
No. Jules.
Yep.
You and Charlie want to cover the other side?
Right.
And watch it. We should be able to get a pretty good look at him.
Yeah.
Lousy deal. You parked the car and it's towed off the street. What kind of town is this? They got a sign. You should have put it in the garage. You and your smart ideas. You read. Why didn't you see the sign? Who can tell you?
It's Colton and Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
You see Jules and Charlie?
Wait a minute. Yeah, over by the gray Merc. Looks like they're all set.
All right, let's go.
Let's get this straight out of here. Nice and Brent has the rope put down. The cops put their hand. They should have been more than you. Still not sure it was the right thing to do. But you don't have to think. If I wanted somebody for that, you'd still be Baptiste. You know one of these days you're going to open that mouth just a little too wide. Now, what do you guys want?
Police officers, you're under arrest.
Run her!
Hit him off, Joe!
The ramp, Joe.
I'll get him. Colton, this isn't the way out.
You follow your own laptop.
The doors are blocked, Colton. You're in here for good.
You're wearing the wrong kind of glasses. I'll get out.
Now, look, we got you for robbery. Don't make it any more.
Joe?
Yeah. He's over in the corner. How about Fitzgerald?
Sutton and Zimmerman got him. 2 of their guns in their lap. On no part of trouble.
Colton doesn't figure it that way.
I'll try to get around him.
All right, watch yourself.
Keep those people back out of the doorway. Go on, Frank. I'll cover you.
You come near me, tough, I'll kill you.
There's 3 more, Colton. You aren't going to get by all of us. Your partner quit. Why not be smart like him?
He's not smart, he's scared.
All right, Colton. I'm coming to you.
You do and you'll be dead when you get here.
Throw down that gun. Colton! Colton! See him, Joe? No. Take it easy, Joe. Colton. How about it?
He's hit. I can't tell how bad. He's still got the gun.
Colton! You can hear me, throw that gun out here.
Nothing. Come on. Better call an ambulance.
Right. Never should have taken us.
Better take it easy, Colton. You're hit where it shows.
Never should have taken us. 2 of you, 2 of us.
You got it wrong, mister.
Huh?
You were outnumbered going in.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Department 92, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. The Chesterfield Christmas carton is the most talked-about gift of the year. It features the covered bridge, which, of course, inspired the Kissing Bridge song, now a highlight of the Radio City Music Hall Christmas show. The carton itself is featured in most of the 1,300,000 retail tobacco stores coast to coast. This Christmas, do what I'm going to do. Give America's most popular two-way cigarette, regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best to give, best to get for Christmas.
Harvey Ned Fitzgerald and Louis Jeffrey Colton were tried and convicted of kidnapping, robbery in the first degree, and violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act. They were found guilty and sentenced as prescribed by law. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for a period of from 1 to 25 years in the state penitentiary. Robbery in the first degree by imprisonment for a term of not less than 5 years. Violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act by imprisonment in the state prison for a period of not less than 5 years. Henry Vincent Peterson was remanded to the authorities of New Jersey for completion of his sentence. A hold was placed on him by the state of California in the event he is paroled.
Be sure to read the current issue of Photography Workshop for an interesting and informative look behind the scenes with Dragnet. That's Photography Workshop, the current issue.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Ellis, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Buy new Fatima, the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. This Christmas, give Fatima in the special Christmas carton. Cork tip and plain ends, too.
Hear Merrill Muller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.